Hey everybody, it's that time of the year again. Welcome to Holding Priority, podcast where we talk about CEDH. On today's episode, we are going to do our Duskmourn main set review. And then the next episode, we'll go over specifically the Commander Precons and Commander cards.
Lots of good stuff in this set. I love the arts.
Yes, I've been pretty engaged with the Twitter art community, and I've retweeted a bunch of full arts of the set. Like, they look really cool in the cards, but seeing the artists post the full art, I'm just like, I kind of want these. They kind of give me Castlevania vibes because this whole plane is supposed to be like a giant haunted house.
I really like it. I think that most of the creatures have that horror sense. It's coming out at the right time of the year.
Yeah.
Just all in general, it's a really good set.
And MagicCon Vegas weekend before Halloween will be there.
Yeah, and it's going to be themed this way.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
I'm excited. We'll get into the set review pretty soon, but we're going to go into the shuffle up. So we did record a bunch of episodes before we had our big long tournament, so I need to catch up a little bit on the comments, but we've seen quite a few pretty cool comments. I'm going to start with Kevin Sanders 588 on YouTube. He says, first time hearing the channel. Really enjoyed listening to you guys. I know how hard it is to start a podcast and stick with it. You guys are funny and very informative. Love it and happy subscribed. Can't wait to listen to more.
Thanks, man. We do it for you guys, for sure.
No, I love any feedback, period. Even if it's like, hey, you guys aren't good. But
yeah, y'all suck.
Yeah. But whenever it's, hey, I really enjoy the podcast, like really, really cool to see. Definitely fuels me to where I'm like, okay, let's get to it. Let's put a lot
out
of effort
10 today.
Yeah. Patrick Owens is back. He says, if you're in green, you should be running Rift Sweeper in the 99. It's a true drop elf. When it ETBs, shuffle target face-up exiled card into its owner's library. It gets back combo pieces and key cards. Can also put cards back to battle against Thorkel. And then normally I don't cover my comments, but I do think I agree. Rift Sweeper is a pretty cool card. In a tournament, I had somebody Rift Sweeper my imprinted card on Chrome Mox in a tournament, and then I could not use that rock anymore.
That is awesome. Yeah. I don't run a lot of green, but that's definitely going to be in my list of things.
Yeah, he called over basically like the judge, which was the shop owner, and he was like, hey, if I Rift Sweeper this imprinted card back to his hand, does it still tap for red? And he was like, no, the imprinted card is no longer existing. And I, like, as he was asking, looked it up on my phone, and there was an old Tumblr that was a judge that would like, and it was like a 6-year-old question, and they confirmed, and I was just like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, if you're holding that card in hand and you're looking for the right moment, imprinting Chrome Mox or an imprinted Chrome Mox, I would be that guy.
Yeah.
I would.
The Pencil Wizard from Blueborough Commander set review says, to note, none of the black bordered non-acorn cards from Infinity were strictly silver border, so it's not exactly setting any new precedents, referring to the cut in half reprint. They said, now if Krark's other thumb was printed in a commander deck, that would do it. And then Patrick Owens is back again. Thank you. Egyptologist reacts to Magic the Gathering's Nadu. We put out a bonus episode where I have a friend that's an Egyptologist that goes to Egypt pretty often, is clearly very passionate about that mythology. And we talked about Nadu for like 15 minutes as a bonus episode. So if you didn't get a notification for that, it's there if you want to learn more about Nadu. Patrick Owens says it's cool how they incorporated so much in his card.
I didn't make it to that one, and I listened to the whole thing at least twice. It was very informative.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where I was just like, well, clearly we're going to talk about Toth and ibises, but she was just a wealth of information. And I love having guests on the podcast, especially whenever they're maybe not in the Magic community. So it's really cool to have that crossover where she has her own podcasts called the Past Macabre and a blog called Into the Weirdness. So we were able to kind of bring some of those people over, and apparently, like archaeologists, all nerds. So
I think us nerds are everywhere. I
yeah.
will say that one of the coolest things, not to go in too deep about it, is that the god, I don't remember the exact name of him at the moment, but that is depicted as Nadu
Oh, Toth.
is depending on what era he
Yeah.
did different things.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. It it blew my mind to know that like Egypt mythology spans thousands of years. Like,
It makes sense if you think about it,
yeah,
but it is crazy.
yeah. Like, it made me wonder, like, is Wolverine ever gonna go away? You know, like,
Yeah.
will Wolverine outlive me as somebody that's continued in literature? And yeah, I was like, to me, being pretty recent, like Mickey Mouse is the oldest current modern day like mythology. So thinking about Mickey Mouse being around for 3,000 years, I was just like, that's crazy.
We could argue that it might be Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny was after
Are you
Mickey
sure?
Mouse, I thought.
I don't know. Leave it in the
Yeah,
comments. Tell us.
yeah. Uh, that is it for the shuffle up. Again, we've been seeing a lot of views pretty much every month whenever I look into our stats. We're trending upward month over month. Every month has more viewers, more listeners, more podcasts, comments, more follows. So please put those in. We'll read them on the shuffle up.
Let us know, and if you want to hear us discuss something in particular, throw it out there. You never know.
Another thing that I just personally, I'm a nerd. I listen to our podcast. I do a lot of driving that is like 2 hour trips. So it's nice for me to have one thing that I can throw on. And a lot of the times I'll be like, I remember filming this episode, but like I need to listen to myself to know like how I sound and if it was a good engaging podcast. And I realized that I can set the episodes to auto download whenever they release. So literally the Monday that they release, I wake up, it's already downloaded. I don't have to worry about any like spotty connection like on my drive or anything like that. And it also gives us credit for you listening to it if you auto download it. So
Please do it.
if you enjoy the podcast, please go into your settings.
Only the real listeners do that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm
Yeah.
just joking.
Yeah. The most attractive listeners
The
do
hottest
that.
ones.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for the shuffle up. We got a lot of cards to review. I just kind of background. I usually just any card that kind of tickles my fancy. Whenever I look at a set, I'll grab those and download them for the episode. And then usually I'm like, I went around 25. I only have 22. Let me relook. Oh, here's one. And then Gaming Ghost will usually be like, well, I think this one's cool. You didn't include this. And then he'll kind of show it to me and I'm like, oh, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. Like, let's throw this in. This time I downloaded 42. And I think we have a final 37. So this is a stack set. There's a certain color that's eating real good this set that I'm pretty excited for. So let's get into it. As always, we're going to do it by set number. So white will be first, colors. Then, as we go on, set number will clearly increase. So that is how we organized it. Let's get into the first card. Oh, yeah. And then we do this every time. I forget every time. If you are listening to the podcast, it should be audio friendly. I will read the card and we will explain it. If you're the type of person that wants to see the card the entire time we explain it, we will have a video up on YouTube that you can just go swap over and watch it that way. If you make the trek over to YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're coming from a podcast and you've never checked out the YouTube before, leave us a comment. It always helps.
Yeah. I'm I enjoy this set a lot.
Yeah.
I think that if we do get too excited, just kind of set me back because I have read it before without going through.
That so a lot of the episodes I don't like put a threshold on the volume. This one I've already preset it, so we will not be screaming randomly while you're
Sorry in
listening to us in
advance.
the car. Yeah. So this is Toby, Beastie Befriender. Too generic, a white legendary creature, human wizard. It's a rare. When Toby, Beastie Befriender enters, create a 4/4 white beast creature token with this creature can't attack or block alone. As long as you control 4 or more creature tokens you control have flying.
All right, that looks like a pretty casual finisher for all of these green white token generating decks.
Yeah, it's a Winota card in my opinion. I am probably going to try to put it in Balin. I've been messing around with Balin lately. I don't think Balin is there, but after I saw some cards in this set, I'm willing to give it another round. Not in a tournament, but at the table.
Oh, that is true
Yeah,
because there is a lot of like Johnny and stuff drops out cat
yeah.
tokens, and I didn't think about it that way. I was more like, these doubling season parallel live decks are just going to be.
It's also 3 for 5, a 5/5 across 2 bodies,
Yeah.
which is pretty insane. And I we're going to talk about the art quite a bit, but this is the only token for the set that's been spoiled so far, and it's a really cool token.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a purple people eater with like all kinds of masks on its face for eyes, and you see it a little bit in the main art, but it's front and center, really cool. Like,
I think it's very awesome in the art. It looks like a kid playing with blocks with like an imaginary friend behind
yeah,
him.
and the flavor text, I'm not going to read all of them, but the flavor text on this set, please read it. It's the flavor text is, sure, I'm pretty small, but Gribble isn't, so I don't get scared.
Oh, that's
Like,
awesome.
yeah. What would you rate this card?
Um, I think it's probably right in the center. I don't think it's going to break anything, but I do think it's probably going to get used.
Oh, I didn't even go over the rating, so let me do that. So we're with this set, we're gonna start a rating scale. What we'll do is 1 through 5, we'll throw out a number, and then with both of our scores, we'll average it. So just because I can't do fractal math on the fly, which is apparently a card in this set,
Uh,
I will do whole numbers only, so no 1.5s, no 2.5s.
yeah.
And then, as kind of something special for the podcast, we both have a force of will to use on the other's review, where either I can just say, like, this card is a 5, it's the best in the set. I don't even want to hear rating force of will. Or let's say I think Toby's a 5 and Gaming Ghost thinks Toby's a 1. I can be like, no, you're completely wrong. I'm going to use my one force of will. This will go in the books as a 5, regardless of your review.
Can I yell out, I activate my trap
You
card?
can, yes.
Don't judge me, guys.
And then I wanted to put some type of numbers are kind of meaningless without a definition. So a card that's 1 is, I just think it's neat. Any card that's going to make this review is obviously going to be
A 1 for
good,
sure, at
a good
least.
card. You know, like I think it's neat. I wouldn't put it in here if it wasn't neat. 2 is going to be kind of our, what we say, like, don't know where this goes, but put it aside. Like, you'll want to know where it is. 3 is, might see some play. It's good enough to where I think it'll see some play. I don't really know where. 4 is, I know this will see play in a certain deck. So 4 is like, this is really good. I know Crick will run it. I know this card will run it. And then 5 is just, you know, I always say Underworld Breach. Like, this will be a strong card, and any color deck the card can be put in, it will be. So like this card is so strong that if you're running red, you are always going to put this card in.
Yeah, it'll be your, if you're running blue, this is the Mystic Remora
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So with that new card rating scale, what would you rate Toby?
I was gonna say 3 initially, but I do think that Winota will use this card, so I'll put it as a solid 4.
Yeah. Um, I think it's a 3 personally.
I could see that too.
Um, might see some play. I do think Winota likes it, but it's a human. So if you hit it on your flop, it does generate a non-human, but for the most part, Winota wants to have as
Very
many
specific. So.
non-humans as possible, and the humans are like, "Oh yeah, I hit this for
Like,
free."
yeah, this is gonna win me the game, or yeah, I
Yeah,
got you.
and then also too, like it's a win mark more card where it's like if you have 4 or more creature tokens in Winota, you're getting 4 Winota triggers, so you kind of don't care if they're flying. Like,
I'm with you on it.
yeah,
I don't play a lot of Winota, but now that you're kind of mentioning it, I think I'll drop it back down to 3.
yeah,
Just personally, I think that if it's on my Winota flop, I would rather have the take an extra combat instead.
yeah. So I'm gonna say 3. You're gonna say 3.
Yeah, I'm with it.
I'm gonna show you Force of Will, so it stays at 3. Now I'm just kidding.
You activated my trap
We
card.
have friends that use counters like that. Just
Yeah, on the occasion.
all right. Next card. So this is unidentified hover ship. 1 generic white artifact vehicle flying. Whenever unidentified hover ship enters, exile up to 1 target creature with toughness 5 or less. When unidentified hover ship leaves the battlefield, the exile card's owner manifests dread. Crew 1. Number 1, I like it because it's a UFO.
It also looks like a mushroom.
Yep. Because it's abducting somebody. So the reason I put this in is if you can flicker an artifact, which, displacer, hullbreaker, or not hullbreaker, hullbreaker horror, right? Hull breacher is the one that's banned. Yeah.
Yeah, Hullbreaker is the flash tentacle guy.
It's one of the few white Oblivion Ring effects that just makes the card go away completely. So basically, you can flicker this thing, exile all creatures, and they're just gone as long as they have toughness 5 or less, which in Commander, pretty much everything's going to have toughness 5 or less.
Especially in CEDH, there's not a lot of.
And then if you can flicker it, you can somewhat you can mill out that person's library as long as they no because you have to manifest dread even if it's not a creature. So exile the creature, they put out a 2/2. You flicker it, you exile that 2/2. They look at 2, one goes to the graveyard, one goes to the field, you exile it, so you can mill them out if you can flicker this white thing, because they have to put out a new 2/2. So you'll always have that creature. It's not as easy to flicker artifacts as it is creatures. If it was a creature, this would be pretty busted, but I mean, a 3-cost Oblivion Ring that exiles the creature and doesn't give it back, and then when it leaves potentially messes up their game plan. So like, let's say you have a Crom, I play unidentified hover ship, I have a way to flicker unidentified hover ship at instant speed in my hand. On my end step, you decide to do a top tutor, so like Mystic, whatever. I can go, okay, resolve down to tutor. I flicker the hover ship. Now you have to manifest dread. So you either put whatever you tutored for down as a 2/2, and you can only flip it up if it's a creature, or that goes to the graveyard, and you have to figure out how to get it out of your graveyard.
Yeah, there's a lot of like worldly tutor plays, and worldly tutor would be good, but like mystical and enlightens.
Yeah.
I can see it. I think that it's an Emil outlet. Like if Emil was there with infinite mana, it'd be interesting.
Let me see. I think Emil is a creature though, only.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might be. And the vehicle. Do vehicles turn into creatures whenever they get crewed?
You'd have to crew it each time.
That's true. I mean, it's a tech. I don't know if it's um, makes sense, honestly, as far as to do it that way. But some
Yeah, Mila is creature. I looked it up.
a little battle tricks isn't too crazy. I think that it's good.
Yeah, I don't know a way in which you can flicker an artifact reliably over and over and over and over again. Um, I displace your kitten lines, obviously, but I think it's good. Um, I am gonna go ahead and rate this one. Ooh,
I know what mine is.
I think I'm gonna do a 4.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I
way
think.
up there.
Well, so there's so many like Timna and then the pirate that you sack over and over again. I forget his name. They run a lot of removals in white because like you don't have anything that actually straight up removes stuff. So a lot of their removal is like portable hole stuff like that. This is 3, but it's really good. I some deck will run it. Like some, it'll find a place in some deck. I don't know what that deck is, but
I think until we know more about it, I'm seeing a 3 on it.
oh no, that's true. I know this will see play in a certain deck, so I don't know what that deck is. Yeah, so it's 3. Yeah, okay, I see it. I see it.
I was like immediately. I was like, man, you're hitting 4. That's a big one, man.
Yeah. So a four would be, I know that this is gonna go in
The
Timna Crom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
This
a
is a 3.
Winota card. No,
Yeah.
this is more of, and I almost said a 2. Put it aside for later, but I think 3 will have it. I think somebody's gonna look at it and be like, "This is cool."
The fact that it's a well priced removal and potentially if you can figure out a way to flicker it, it just mills the entire person's graveyard. Like that's the only reason I'm so high on it. Normally I'd say like, hey, this is just a 2. Like I think 3 is fair. So we'll
You
rate this one a
you
3.
know what could do this whenever it enters the battlefield? So if you have it with World Gorger,
Yeah.
it would be a World Gorger win, right? Because it would.
Is World Gorger a 4/4? I thought World Gorger was big.
What I'm saying is, if you start a World Gorger line, so like you return World Gorger with animate, is it animate dead or the necromancy or whichever one is the,
Oh
and
yeah,
then you
you're saying to
start
mill
flickering it.
everybody out.
Yeah.
Yeah. World Gorger is a 7/7. So you couldn't start the World Gorger combo
Not with
with it.
this,
Yeah,
no, but
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm saying is you put, you have that on the field, so you've played it turn whatever, and then now you're like, okay, I'm ready to start my World Gorger. It's
Hmm.
here. Let's go.
Yeah,
And then you start the World Gorger play, all exiles comes back, all exiles comes back. And then you're like, okay, well, everybody dread your entire deck.
yeah.
I
Like you'll the last creature, the last dread you'll keep on the field. You also could do the same thing where you're just like, you can turn it face up at any time for its cost, and that's a special action. So it's one of those things that doesn't go on the stacks. No one can counter it.
oh,
Yeah, and it's instant speed. Like it's like a
th-
mana ability.
then I hold it.
So you
I'm gonna
could,
say 3 is my
yeah,
go-to, but I can see some World Gorger play with this.
you could look at, you could be like, I propose a loop. We agree that I can flicker unidentified hover ship over and over and over, right? And everybody'd be like, yeah. It's like, okay, cool. I'm going to keep going until I find this specific
Yeah,
creature. I'm gonna dread it as a 2/2. Everything else will be exiled. I don't care. I will pay mana right then to flip it up
and win.
and win. So
Thassa.
like, yeah, you could Thassa yourself with, well, you couldn't. You'd have to figure out a way to,
In the loop.
you'd have to figure out a, if you had this and 2 creatures,
Yeah.
you use the one to constantly, and then when you find Thassa, be like,
Switch.
okay, I'm going to swap to this one, exile the rest of my library as a special action. I don't think flipping her face up causes ETB though, because she doesn't enter when she flips. Maybe I'm wrong. I do not have a firm grasp on.
I think that just the fact that we've kind of spent some time looking into it, I think it's solid. I think it's a 3. It's a pseudo win con for a couple of things. I think the exile cards from owners exile cards exiled cards owner manifest dread. I think just that text could mill the library, and then if you just pass, it could win it too.
Yeah, and I just confirmed flipping a card like a disguise card in a previous set. Flipping it does not cause the ETB because it's already entered.
So you can't do Thassa.
Yeah, so you can't.
Okay.
But I mean, it's let's say you have Crick like in your
Yeah.
deck somewhere. But yeah, I mean, 3 really cool. I don't know where it goes. I would not be surprised if I saw
So
play.
final word 3.
Yeah, final word 3.
Cool.
Abhorrent Oculus. It's a 2 generic blue creature. Its creature type is just eye. If it's a mythic, as an additional cost to cast the spell, exile 6 cards from your graveyard. Flying at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, Manifest Dread. I'm going to read Manifest Dread this one time. There's a lot of cards that do it. Look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one into the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature, and the other in your graveyard. Turn it face up at any time for its mana cost if it's a creature card. It's a 5/5. So I think this is pretty good. Abhorrent Oculus, it's 3. It's a 5/5. As an additional cost to cast the spell, exile 6 cards from your graveyard. However, if you're not casting it, you don't care about that. So you could mill the card out, reanimate it. You have a 5/5 with flying that at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you manifest dread. So you'll continue to mill and fill your library, and you'll get 2/2 creatures that you can flip face up at any time.
I like it. I
Yeah.
think that it's this is one we've talked about where it's a 5/5 and also somewhat like heuristic, like a little bit.
Yeah.
You get a card and you're milling.
Yeah, if it's a creature heavy deck, potentially you're drawing 3 creatures on the field that at the moment you get the value of them being in your hand, but you also get them as 2/2s as well.
I do want to kind of clarify on the previous card just for a half second. The World Gorger would still have Thassa ETB.
Yeah, yeah.
So you would flip it and then Thassa
Yeah.
would, yeah. So that would still work. It just not in the same way we were saying.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, because the World Gorger would come in, Thassa would leave, and then
And re-enter.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but anyway, this one similar. You read read Dread, and it kind of
Yeah, yeah,
made
yeah.
me look
That
at
makes
it.
sense, yeah.
I like it. I think that the mana value is a little high for it. I think that it's kind of got a lot of hoops and hurdles to kind of make happen. But would it see play? I think it will.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm looking at maybe a 2.
that's where I'm at. Like I can't say a card that the only way I can see it being cast is by cheating it out or reanimating. Because if I'm gonna cheat it out or reanimate something, I'd rather reanimate like Hullbreaker, you know,
Yeah.
in those colors. So like, it would be nice to be able to reanimate this early, but you know what would be much nicer is entombing a Hullbreaker.
Yeah, for sure.
The value is there. I think there are certain deck types that will want to run this. I don't see those deck types being in CDH. Self mill is not a good strategy in CDH. So I don't think you're gonna get far enough in the game where you could cast this for 3 and exile 6 cards from your graveyard. So I am going to give this a 2 as well.
Yeah. Again, set it aside.
Yeah.
I think that there may be a card we're not thinking of that kind of breaks this, but I think that it's good tech.
Yeah. All right, next card. Enter the Enigma. Single blue. Sorcery. Target creature can't be blocked this turn, and you draw a card. This is a simple one. It's a cantrip that replaces itself, so it's automatically good. way better if it was instant, but it's a new cantrip that there are many deck types that just want to roll through their deck. Like I could see maybe Kart Shakashima just being like, I would just use this over and over and
and draw.
over for drawing a card. Usually they want a red card that does that because of Bergie, but it's useful.
I think that where you're going to see this mostly is during your pre-release drafts.
Oh
this
yeah,
this is going to be
yeah,
you're if you get 2 or 3 of these, well, now you're running blue
yeah.
because it's good.
This in draft like cracked.
Yeah,
Like yeah.
it's nice.
Don't have much to say about this card. I'm going.
I think 1 is where I'm at.
Yeah, I yeah 1. If this was red, I'd say it's a 2. But
There,
I can't look at this card and confidently say like this definitely is good enough at sorcery speed to go into like I was not Yu-Gi-Oh. I've been playing a lot of like different IP stuff like fighting games and stuff like that. So I was just about to be like, yeah, it doesn't go in Taki, and I'm like, wait, that's Soul Calibur. Yuriko? Yeah, Yuriko.
yeah.
I was like, woman ninja. There's like 7 of them across all of the games that I play that they look very similar, have similar armor and similar hair. Like,
I think this is almost a Krakashima card.
yeah,
And if it was the Krakashima card, I would say for sure what it would need is Phyrexian
yeah.
blue.
And,
That would
and
that would make
you
it.
play Krakashima, so you would know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, again, would I rather have this or I can't think about it at the moment, but the Phyrexian blue that lets me look at your hand.
Oh, Phyrexian probe.
Phyrexian
Some well, it's like probe something.
Pro. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Pro. But if it was Phyrexian, it would be it.
Yeah, or if it was red, you could just
Bergie
replace it with Bergie. Yeah.
So yeah, I think 1, maybe 2.
Oh, wait. I'm not gonna change, but the blue, so we have a friend that's been playing the blue Yeehaw commander that makes all the zombies that he wants to cantrip through his deck, and that's mono blue. And he's also been playing the mono blue Bloomburrow thing that if you have a flood counter, this would be free.
I want to say that it's Griswold, but I don't think that's the name.
Yeah.
Of it's the zombie guy. We
It's 2 cards that we said would be really good mono blue commanders in our previous reviews. I'm not going to change it, but I think Enter the Enigma for sure would go in that. I think he's going to be excited. And then the other one, it's not like, it's like the Flood Serpent that whenever he ETBs, all of your blue cards are cheaper. So this would become I believe when he attacks too, you get another one. So you could make him unblockable and draw a card for free that turn. I don't think it goes in any like
I think that
competitive.
I think that it's interesting, but even in those scenarios, it doesn't win you the game. So at the end of it, I think that it's good to know about. Maybe a 2. I'm gonna say 1 just because I think it's neat, and I can't think of the actual for sure play.
Cards that replace themselves, especially when you can cast them for free, are huge, because the moment that you put this card in your deck, you're running a 99 card deck.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right, next one. Leyline of Transformation. So almost every color got a new leyline. Black did not. Black got the same one that just exiles graveyards. But this is the blue leyline. Leyline of Transformation. 2 colorless, blue. We didn't put every leyline in just because the set review was already completely bloated. I did put 2, I believe, in.
And
no, 3.
And if you think 1 is better than these 2, let us know.
Yeah. So this is an enchantment. It's a ley line. So if it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. As Leyline of Transformation enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So I think this is pretty good. Whenever I showed it to our play group, They were like, oh, this makes assassin deck way more viable. This makes this way more viable. And I am a sucker of joy. So I was just like, that's wrong. You cannot build a deck around hoping one of your 99 is in your opening hand every single time.
I think we'll agree on
Yeah.
this method here.
If I could get a card, a special card in Crick in my opening hand every single time I played Crick, I would win very quickly in Crick. you know?
I kind of have the opposite problem with like Gemstone Caverns.
Yeah.
I'll be third in rotation, and my first draw is Gemstone, and it's just like, thank you.
Yeah. If I could get a Jeweled Lotus in Crick every single time and a swamp, like that deck would just go. You know?
All gas, no brakes.
And just the fact that all this does is change everything in your deck to assassins if it's not removed. I think it's good. I do think there are certain decks that will really like it, and maybe I'm wrong. You play the deck, so you can correct me. But I think Leyline of Transformation is going to be pretty good in Kark Shakashima because you can turn everything into wizards for free.
Yeah, but if we're turn 2 to 3 and I draw this, I'm not a happy camper.
Yeah, and I do think that Croc Thrasios will really like it too because it has to rely on those doublers.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think this one has a place, and if you are listening to this and you're just like, I cannot believe they're forgetting about this specific
You
deck.
idiots.
Yeah. Like I know that Ninja Tribal is gonna be pretty good. There's gonna be a Planeswalker that comes up, so I don't know if Yuriko would want to run this, but I think Yuriko is pretty much just a whole bunch of ninjas anyway with unblockables, and I don't know if changing those unblockables to ninjas like supremely elevates the deck. The other thing is like, let's say well, I was about to be dumb. I was like, let's say we put this in Winota. Like, oh wait,
I actually thought Winota too, and I was like, it's not red.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for casual play, this is gonna be like a favorite. I'm gonna rate it a 1.
Okay, I'm a little bit more. I see a little more in it. I don't.
Sorry, 2. I was reading it wrong. Put it aside for later. So like you'll want to know where this card is. It's a ley line.
I'll think a 3 is probably where it's at, in my opinion. I think all of the ley lines have a place. In CEDH, though, you don't see a lot of tournament users using ley lines.
So the only one I know of is Rogsai. They use the blue one that gives all their spells flash sometimes.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, you don't use it enough to say that this is in every blue deck.
Yeah.
It's not even as good as the Flood Crawler.
Yeah.
The otter guy.
The Valley Flood Caller.
Yeah. And if it's not at least at that level, I think that we're looking at might see play.
So I would say the ley line that gives everything flash, if I was reviewing it right now, it would be a 3. Because it might see play. Because I know Rogsai uses it, but very specific Rogsai people use it. It's not auto include.
I'm looking at the possibility of some of the is it Typal decks may use it.
Yes, I think it's Typal, and then they have Kindred enchantments. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, it does a lot, but it does a lot in a very specific way. I think it could see play. Will it? I don't know.
I think everybody has a special place in their heart for typal decks because that's what you build when you start. Like, I made a vampire typal, I made an insect typal. I wanted to make an insect typal. I made a spirit typal that was mono black. Like, I think everybody wants those to.
But even at tournaments and stuff, you're seeing at least 20% of the players are come in with a deck that's usually better than their play group.
Yeah.
And they want to play it.
Yeah.
I think we could see it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna hold to it as might see some play. Will it see play in any big decks that I know of? I'm not really looking at it that way. I'm more looking at it as maybe it'll put a deck in a position that might make it cool if it's in opening hand. There's a lot of ifs there, but I think three, you might see it.
If you know where this goes, pause the video and please put a comment. I want to build a deck around this.
Be like, you
Like, yeah,
fools.
like if you're in the car when it's safe,
No,
pause when it's safe. Go into a parking lot, park, turn your car off, leave the comment.
I disagree. Get in between two 18-wheelers and then just madly try to text him.
No, we can't get sued yet. We don't
No,
do that.
don't do that.
I don't have. I can't get a lawyer yet. Like, we only have 31 YouTube subscribers. That
That's
doesn't pay
funny.
for lawyers. All right, next card. The Mind Skinner. It is so cool. Blue. Legendary enchantment creature nightmare. The Mind Skinner can't be blocked. If a source you control would deal damage to an opponent, prevent that damage, and each opponent mills that many cards. It's a 10-1. So the downside of this card is it's a 10-1 that can't be blocked, but all it does is just mill. And mill is not good in CDH because you just don't really want to mill people and load their graveyard up with their combos because they're going to get them back in a lot of the cases. Like if I mill blue farm 10 cards, we're losing the next turn.
I don't mind that.
Yeah. So I thought that this would be kind of a fun mill commander that would see casual play, but I was on the Twitters and people were showing me that if you have this in Questing Beast, you are a 10-1 unblockable. That Questing Beast says combat damage can't be prevented, so the prevent that damage part of the card is nullified, and you just swing in for a 10-1. You do have to go into other colors. I do not believe that
Him
there's
as commander.
yeah, I don't believe there's a blue card that reliably prevents damage. I know there's a lot of red cards that do it, and I know that there's Questing Beast, because I know Questing Beast people were using for when people would cast One Ring, and they were like, "Aha, you can't get me! I cast One Ring. Damage will be prevented because I have protection." And then those people would pop down Questing Beast and be like, "Well, now damage cannot be prevented." Boom.
Yeah,
And kill
yeah.
them. I don't know if we saw that too much in Commander. I believe Legacy, it was a tech that they were doing for One Ring.
I think being that it's one color is going to hurt it. I think that in general, the art is just crazy cool.
Yes. Yeah.
I think overall the card is really, really interesting.
This looks like an Is It card to me that last minute after they paid for the artist to do everything, they just went, oh, wait, we can't put this as a blue red because that would be way too cracked. Like this has to be mono blue and it has to be 3 blue pips. So
I, you think is it? I was thinking more of like blue black.
so it's blue red, and then Is It weirds are lightning based, and
Ah,
lightning is a very big part of the Is It identity, which has it all over this. So just headcanon, this was an Is It card, and then they went, no, we don't need another Nadu. You know?
yeah, I could see that.
um I think it's good. I am going to rate it a 2.
That's where I was too.
I will say, even if you can prevent the damage, milling 10 cards away from somebody is really scary. Like, I will say Sisay I would want to mill 10 cards off of, but like Blue Farm, almost every other deck, I would just not want to mill them. You know? I mean, as a commander, like let's say in a world where you can run this as a commander and there's blue cards that stop preventing damage, you are sitting down at the table and going, I need to be able to attack with my commander 9 times because 21 kills, not 20. So even if you can buff this one, you're looking at the table and saying, I need to get through 6 combats to win the game, which not going to happen. So Yeah, I would, if I pulled this, I would set aside. It would not go in my my bulk trade away box, but I'd want to know where it is. I just
I'd definitely
yeah
have it on the side with maybe a little note.
yeah. Because if somebody showed me like an absolutely like cracked deck that was in a tournament that had this in it, I, I'd be building it. Yeah.
I
All
like
right.
it.
And then you were too as well.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
too. It's not just a one. I think it's got a little more flavor to it.
Yeah. This is, I think it's the only saga in this set. Tale of Tamayo. Two generic and a blue. So as the saga enters, after your draw step, add a lore counter. Sacrifice after 4. So its first, second, and third chapter is, and it's a legendary enchantment saga. It is just a rare. Its first, second, and third chapter is mill 2 cards. If 2 cards that share a card type were milled this way, draw a card and repeat this process. Its fourth chapter is exile any number of target instant, sorcery, and/or Tamayo planeswalker cards from your graveyard. Copy them. You may cast any number of the copies.
That's kind of weird that it's or Tamio
Yeah.
planeswalkers.
I know that the MH3 Tamio people were interested in her as a commander, so I don't know if this card would go in. I mean, you're playing it and you're hoping that the game lasts for 4, and then you're self milling, which like, eh, like
I think that you could, and hear me out, since you repeat the process, maybe there's a world where you could mill your entire deck and Thassa out if everything.
if everything is lands, because like you have to have
Yeah, that's
lands in your
true.
deck. Yeah, yeah. Like,
I don't know. I'm
and then also let's say you only have lands, you mill them all, and then when you get to no deck, you have to draw, and then you lose. So like if you have a if you have the I was forget deranged lab maniac, you play him, know that you only have lands left in your deck, and then you just go, all right, blah 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 blah, draw, win.
yeah. I'm looking at a one here. I just think it's neat.
Uh,
Anything with Tamio is cool. I like Tamio as a planeswalker, as a character in general. But I just
I think it has potential. I'll give it a 2 just because I could see a deck that proliferates and like maybe old Atraxa, if it ever came back, would run this. Like you proliferate and you just have like every instant and sorcery in your deck. You just play it. Um,
this is also a saga.
yeah,
Sagas get a lot of hate unless it's like Urza, and even then, meh. Like it doesn't do a whole lot.
I'm just thinking about the storm proliferate card that we got from Fallout and this, because you could play this proliferate, like if you're already storm deck, proliferate it all the way up to 4, and then literally everything in your graveyard that's an instant or sorcery you have, and a lot of those you'd probably be running the everybody gets a poison counter draw. Like it's one of those things where like I look at it and I see the potential. I think it's way too slow for CDH,
You're
but since I see the potential, I'd want to put it as a 2.
if you were playing those for free,
Yeah,
I'm 100% with
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Here it says you may cast them. I just don't see it. I think that it's neat. Do I like the art on it? Of course. I think Tamio is
Well,
really
so
awesome.
you copy them, so they're already on the stack. Like you're already copying them, so you don't have to spend mana for copies, and then you can decide any. So it's not like it's kind of like, I kind of see it as a tali, where it's like you every single card that you exile from your graveyard you copy. So it's step 1, exile everything. Step 2, copy all of those. Then when you have all of those options, you go, these are the ones I want to put on the stack.
Okay, so you don't pay any mana for
You don't. They're free.
Oh.
Yeah.
I maybe 2. I'll run it as a 2. I think that it's interesting, but you're like if the moon aligns right and then all of the stars come together
She's a moon
and
folk.
then
I will throw that in there.
and then if the bones are cast in the right way.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot of there's a lot of ifs, and I don't see a way to make it consistent, and without consistency it's kind of hard.
Yeah. I like the deck. Looking at the card, Storm and free copies, it looks like a Kark Shakashima, and you wouldn't run this in Kark Shakashima. So I don't know where it goes, but I would want to know where it is in my collection.
And again, I hate to keep doing this, but if you guys are listening and you're like, this is the card in the set, let us know.
Help us deck build so we get better. Please comment and help the community.
I have trouble at tournaments. Please let me.
Yeah. All right. So I'm a 2. You're 1.
I switched it to 2.
Go.
I'll put it aside.
Easy peasy. So I'm excited about this one. I'll just say
I am too.
Yeah. Come Back Wrong. It's a 2 generic black sorcery. Destroy target creature. If a creature card is put into a graveyard this way, return it to the battlefield under your control. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So the first time I saw this, I was like, this is kind of meh. And then in a Ask a Judge group, someone brought up that one of their friends said you could steal commanders with it. And I'm not a judge. I don't know how it works. And as far as I saw in the thread, someone said that they were a judge and did confirm you can steal commanders with it. And they linked the rules. Very big, warning on this is I'm not a judge. Somebody on social media said they were a judge and said that this steals commanders, so don't take it at face value. Do your own research. I am pretty confident to say that you destroy target creature. If a creature card is put into a graveyard this way, which a commander would be, return it to the battlefield under your control. So because it's state-based actions, what they said was state-based actions would not trigger while a spell is resolving. So you destroy the creature, it would hit the graveyard, and the rest of everything would resolve before the zone transition for the commander.
Really?
It is what I understand. I'm pretty confident about that, but I also don't. At the end of the day, I'm not a judge. I don't want everybody listening to this podcast and then running it, and then they get to a tournament and they find out that it doesn't work the way I said, and then they're mad at me.
So with this, then, if that is true, then it would be a step higher than my initial thought.
Yeah. So for 3 mana at sorcery speed, you can go
kill, return,
kill your commander. I get it. It doesn't have haste, so I can't tap it or anything like that. And I do sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step, but I can look at somebody's commander and go, I want that. Like, let's say Timna is a good example, where I'm just like, I want Timna trigger. I'm going to kill her. I get her. I attack. I Timna trigger after combat. At the end, I sacrifice her. The only thing that holds this back to me is the fact that it's sorcery speed, but also knowing that the commander just sits on your side for a turn. Would you want it at instant speed at 3?
It doesn't give the creature haste.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So
like
what I'm
how
looking,
Timna sits pretty, she's fine.
I'm gonna go a step further here and give a scenario that happens all too often, and maybe it'll scare some people that just do this. Let's say I cast Dockside and don't win.
Yeah.
So now I come back wrong on your Dockside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm getting Dockside.
Yeah.
Now Dockside comes into my side of the field. I've destroyed it. So now once it's done on my end step, it'll go to your graveyard or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
but now it's off the field.
It's
From
off the field. I get the ETB.
you get the I do.
Yeah. So
Whoever
like the
casts the
person who
spell.
casts come back
Yeah,
wrong, they get a new dockside ETB.
I get the ETB of Dockside and then continue my turn with whatever mana it is. You're gonna want it to hit for at least 4. 3 is a get it off the field, get your mana back, which isn't always a problem. That's a viable scenario. I have been playing Sisse, heads up for anybody that doesn't know. Um, let's say I'm 2 to 3 pips away from Sisse to victory.
Mm-hmm.
I pay 3, kill your commander, get your commander on my side of the field, and
It's
then
a
Sisse.
legendary, yeah.
So that could work.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's legendary cards that aren't commanders too that are played. I see it more of a dockside though.
Yeah. I like that it can steal commanders, but I would probably just keep it for, as an example, you have an op agent. I want to get rid of the op agent, and then on top of it, I don't want you guys searching for an answer while I do my combo. Boom. And you can steal the firstborn in red, just to take the stacks piece away on your turn, give it back. But this kills it. So I could see it being used on an op agent. It's the same cost as op agent. I'm also it's very flexible. It's destroy target creature, so you could have your own dockside, come back wrong your own dockside, and then get a new dockside trigger.
It's a one-time use for Tamir Sabertooth. Like a one-time use Tamir Sabertooth in black on your turn.
Yeah.
To get value.
Yeah.
With dockside.
Yeah.
I see a lot of plays with dockside here. Also, most people that run black are also using blue. Valley Flood Caller, or the otter. I can't remember the name of this otter.
Oh, that gives non-creature spells flash speed.
So now I can cast it on your turn, blink your dockside on your turn, and then try to pull my shenanigans in general.
Yeah. I mean, also, let's say you have Thassa out and you're like, man, I whiffed last turn. I'm going to come back wrong my Thassa, get the ETB back on the stack, my Damok's gone, taint it. So you could, if someone mills away your Thassa for, I mean, I could just, well, no, I don't run Taint Pact or Demonic and Crick because I have too many swamps, but it's like you could definitely, like, it has a lot of uses. It's clearly good. I'm gonna rate it a 4. The only reason I rated a 4 is I do not see it going in Blue Farm because you're not going to use it on your own stuff, and a clone is more efficient than Come Back Wrong, because Come Back Wrong is a sorcery, so it's easier to counter. A creature is not. So every 10 out of 10 times, I would rather play a clone to copy Dockside rather than clone for 2 that's hard to counter, than pay 3 for a sorcery that's easy to counter.
So I'm going to give 2 scenarios here on my rating of this card. I'm going to say a 3 if it can't catch the commanders, and it is a 4 if it can catch commanders.
Yeah.
I believe that the 3 mana value hurts it as far as being every deck. So if it was 2, a 5, I think it would work.
I wish it was 1 black, just because Crick would just salivate at the mouth. 2 generic is a little tough, but I'm going to try. I've been literally, I looked at Crick and I went, I kind of miss playing it. The whole reason I rebuilt it was it had a Halloween sticker on it, and it's spooky season. So I was like, well, I want to start playing this at the table. I don't think Crick would ever be a tournament deck for me, just because it's a lot of thinking, a lot of tutoring. Like turns are really long too.
We know a guy that is a Keurig player,
Oh yeah.
and I would be curious if this is something he's going to tech. He might.
Every set I message him and I'm like, are you gonna put this in Crick? And I don't know why I have such like a fascination with Crick. I guess it was because it was one of my first sweaty decks, but like every time I see a black card, I'm just like, does this go in Crick?
I think because realistically in tournament play, there's only a few mono decks.
Yeah.
I mean, you see Magda, you see Keurig. I can't really think of another mono that
Mm.
really runs well.
You see, there's that blue wizard that just like mono blue wizard that just goes off and wins tournaments every once in a while. It's not Urza, it's an older card. We played it once at a convention and I was just like, what does this do? And then I've seen it. It was a card that comedian lost to in top
Mm,
four and was just like, this is cracked. Yeah, like
you don't see often though. Like if it's ran in Keurig, then
yeah.
I think um, I'd be really interested in that.
Well,
I
this
think
is too generic in a black, so it's made to also go in monocolor decks. So like really I think Corvold is gonna find a home for this for sure. Crick, I would put it in as a spicy include, but I don't think it's a auto include for anything other than Corvold personally. But
this
I think it's great.
this is a really good tech
Yeah,
card.
yeah.
I think we'll see play for sure. Well, on that note, if I say we're gonna see play for sure, then it has to be a 4 or a 5,
Yeah.
and I think right now it's just a 4.
Yeah. I'm gonna say four. I almost want to say it's the best card of the set, but there's so many.
I could maybe
Yeah,
I have one that I think is pretty spicy.
yeah. Cynical Loner. I'm gonna go through this one pretty quickly. It's a one generic black creature human survivor. Cynical Loner can't be blocked by glimmers. Survival at the beginning of your second main phase. If Cynical Loner is tapped, you may search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. It is a 3/1. So it's a entomb on a creature, and it's especially good if you run a Springleaf Drum because you can just tap it like a mana dork with Spring Relief Drum. Um, that being said, I don't know if this goes into Rogsai because I don't really know if Rogsai actually wants to. I guess they do want to entomb for Underworld Breach combo, but I don't. I like it. It's cool. I think it is really good in standard with Caustic Bronco, where you saddle the creature with Cynical Loner, you get to entomb something, and
Mm.
then the top card of your deck, you also get that value with Bronco.
I think any entomb is solid just because a lot of it's mono black, so a lot of mono black plays are entomb this and then
Yeah,
do something.
yeah.
I
You
They
have
always have a place, and it's a 2 drop.
you have to figure out a way to tap her though. So you're either two dropping her, passing, and then attacking and doing that on your next turn, or you have to have Springleaf Drum or Crew or Vehicle, which like there's a lot of mechanics that do that. Um, but because in my mind, I'm just gonna rate this. I think it's a 2. Um, just just because like I would want to know where it is, but while entombing is very strong, there's too many hurdles
Solid
to get
ones.
through. Yeah.
I think a 1 is probably where it's at, and if somebody that's
Uh,
gonna be a spicy take, I'm gonna say a 1.
Number one, it's a goth girl, so it's a 2 at the very least on the art.
That's why I have it as a 1.
The cosplays alone, I'm giving it a 2
your,
for.
your face when I said that. No, I think a 1 is probably where it's at. If you believe cryptid, then it's a 2.
She looks like Shigo from Kim Possible in a hoodie. It's a 2.
I think it's a
For those of you that can't see us, I'm waving my force of will.
1. Are we gonna fight about this one?
Yeah.
It's a 1.
1.5.
More no points.
Demonic
Just skipped it.
Yeah, I just we're done with that. Demonic Council. It's a one generic black sorcery. Search your library for a demon card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Delirium, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, instead search your hand for any card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. 5. I'm just not even entertaining it too much. It's to me it's a 5. This is a demonic tutor that puts to hand. You're gonna have delirium and CEDH by the time you're wanting to use a 2-cost tutor. Turn 1, really, most decks will be getting at least a land and an artifact in their graveyard, so you're at 2 of 4 right then. There's also a lot of, not gonna say a lot. There are few decks that one of their combo pieces is a demon. Maybe this is recency biased, but in Crick, this is a go get a combo piece. If the demon's already in your hand, you will have delirium. Go get Shouldred. Yeah.
I feel it's a 4. I think that the hoops and hurdles you have for this one just make it not as good as some of the other tutors. And maybe I'm wrong.
So good.
It is.
Yeah.
The art is just crazy. It looks like wings with eyeballs on it.
I want to get a print of this. Like,
I could see
yeah.
it. And then there's like a demon behind it. Is that what that is in the back? I think it's realistically a 4. 5, I could be wrong, but
I feel like if you're in black, you're sacking creatures for mana or to tutor. Like, it's no diabolic intent. Like, if I was reviewing diabolic intent at the time, that would be a 5. If I was allowing half ratings, I would definitely rate this a 4.5.
So do you want to use your force of will on this one, man?
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, I was about to say, because I have a strong argument for my hit.
So at the end of the day, I want to rate it a 4.5, but because I only want to do whole numbers.
Yeah.
5. If you say 4 and it ends at a 4.5, I'm getting what I want anyway.
Well, we will not do a 4.5. It is. I'm strongly putting this at a 4. And I do think the only problems with it is that it's not instant, and there is a little bit of hoops and hurdles.
Well, the card that's a 5, Demonic Tutor, is also a sorcery. That's the only.
But it has no hoops and hurdles.
That's true.
That's my problem.
Well, you're not running this in place of Demonic Tutor. You're running it as consistency. So you will always have Demonic Tutor in this.
But this is also somewhat of a dead draw. Demonic Tutor is never a dead draw.
That's fair.
That's where my mind is on it. Now you may be thinking straight Keurig here.
No. Like I definitely am. I feel like in a tournament, by the time you're willing to put 2 mana into a tutor, you would be in a situation where you'd have delirium.
I don't think. I'm thinking turn 2 or 3 and you draw this.
Yeah.
It's cool to have, but it's not going to progress your board state on that early on your turn, or that early in the game. And also, you're now trying to jump through these hoops and hurdles to use it as effectively as possible. And I just feel that you don't take out Demonic Tutor for this. But I would definitely rather have the Demonic Tutor and then have some tech that helps me get more progressive than have this. And that's the only reason. And I'm not saying that it's bad.
No,
this is a good card.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't win the game right away. Demonic Tutor, any part of the game could win it depending on the board state.
I am going to force of will this.
Gonna force of will?
I'm not going to force of will your review. I think this should be a 4.5 because I'm a 5, you're a 4.
And it's there between us.
But I will use this force of will and say I think unequivocally this is the best card in the set.
Nice to know that this is here. Then I will agree that now this is 5 for now.
No. It's still a 4. I'm not countering your review. So I can use this to counter your review, or I can use this and say, I think this is the best card in the set.
Okay. So you're putting yours away then.
Yeah, I'm putting mine away. Yeah.
Okay. So I I question here on the actual play here because I have a card that I think is the best in the set, and it's not in a color I normally play.
So so the kind of the idea of it is if our view of the card is just so wildly different. So like if you would have said this is a 2, it will never see play, I would have force of willed your 2.
Yeah.
I just I am respecting your review of a 4, but saying that I think this is the best card in the set. So you would want to save your force of will for the best card in the set.
There, I got you.
Or if we look at a card and I'm like, this is trash, it's a 1, and you're like, it's a 4, and I'm like, no. And after my argument, you're like, I don't agree. I want this card to show as a 4 on the review, then you'd use the force of will.
Okay, so then I don't have to do anything at this moment.
No.
I will agree with you for
Okay.
now.
Best card in the set. You
For
agree
now.
with me. Cool. Great. Final Vengeance. Real quick here. It's a single black sorcery as an additional cost to cast the spell. Sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Exile target creature. It's a common. I'm going to keep pushing this. It's a sorcery that sacrifices a creature or an enchantment. Gives you 2 to delirium. If you have a land or an artifact, you're at 4 right away. Yeah, like you could sack land, put out your Jeweled Lotus, your, whatever. Play Final Vengeance. You have a sorcery in your graveyard now after it resolves. A 1-cost creature like a Esper. So like land, Esper. You wouldn't really want to sack an Esper, but like if you really wanted to hit Delirium turn 1, you can now with Final Vengeance. And also on top of it, it's a swords at sorcery speed in black with no gain life, no go get a land. Like it's straight up just exile target creature.
I like it. I
Yeah.
think that I like to bring up like Shieldred's Edict.
Oh yeah.
And that one, as a common was like a $4 common or uncommon or whatever it is. I think that it's going to be around there. I don't think that it's going to be as expensive though. I think it's going to be a good card.
This is there are very few cards that I look at and I'm like, in another format, this is going to be so stupid. This is a common. This is like a common black swords in Pauper. Like, what? Like that's crazy. Like, and in black, a lot of the times you just want to sacrifice creatures. Like, there's reasons to do it. Like, I'm gonna put this. If I ever built Corvold again, I would, because it's for a black exile target creature, draw a card. I'm probably gonna poop out a treasure on that creature anyway. Like, it's good. I am, it's a simple card, simple concept, not much to say. I'm gonna rate it a 4. It will go in Corvold.
Yeah, I'll say it's a 4 as well. I agree with you.
Go. Meat Hook Massacre 2, the sequel to Meat Hook Massacre. It is XX black, 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 black. So 4 black pips. And I didn't know that this was contentious, but they did confirm on Twitter that the mana symbols are called pips on a card, like per the design team.
Oh, really?
I thought that was already. I didn't know that was an argument.
I thought it was the easiest way for us to discuss what the
Well, yeah. What are people calling them if they don't call them pips? Mana symbols? Like that's way longer. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Just cool tidbit. I've been on Twitter a lot in this last week. If you can't tell. So it's a legendary enchantment. When Meat Hut Master 2 enters, each player sacrifices X creatures, so including yourself. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 3 life. If you do, return that card under your control with finality counter on it. Just as a refresher, finality counter is if it would leave the battlefield in any way, it's exiled. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they may pay 3 life. If they don't, return that card under your control with a finality counter on it. It's a mythic. It's a cool card design. I'm gonna be honest. Whenever I saw this spoiled, I literally thought it was a fan made card, someone that was making. Because I was like, no way they're gonna make a Meat Hook Massacre 2, But with the slasher thing, how, there's Friday the 13th, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like I liked the idea and design. Um, Again, recency biased. If I have a soul ring with Crick, I put Crick out on the field. I need another creature, so I can't do it with just Crick alone because I'm not going to sacrifice
Yeah.
Crick to get this out.
Well, you could choose nothing into X and just have the in general
Yeah,
ability.
but I would want I agree, but I would want that initial everybody takes 9 or I get
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
And then also whenever my creature dies, I can pay 3 and then return it too. Um, I don't want Crick to. I guess I don't really care if Crick has a finality counter on it at the end of the day because I'm just gonna send him.
That is true. You
Yeah,
get it back.
yeah. So if I have Crick out and I have a Soul Ring, I could just get a creature off of everybody's board, and they have to pay 3 life, so 9 life. I think it's cool. I mean, like you're saying in Crick, I could just spend 8 life and just say, for the rest of the game, don't let shit die or don't let stuff die. Oops. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
I'll go
do
ahead
want to
and turn.
apologize to all
Yeah,
all
yeah,
children.
oh, yeah. Try to keep it for. I mean, there's the first Beetlejuice movie. It was PG and it had the F word in it once, so
I guess
we're
so.
fine. Yeah. I'll go ahead and pass it over to you. I already know my rating.
I think that this card is decent. I do feel like it's more of a gimmick.
Hmm.
I I don't see anybody being like this is going in for sure.
Even with Crick cheating it out for 8 life, it's a 2 for me. Like,
I'm looking at that too. Set it
yeah,
aside for later. Um, will it be kind of cool to have a Meat Hook Massacre and then a Meat Hook Massacre 2 in your deck for something in a casual game? Yeah, I think that again 2 is probably where I'm at with it.
yeah. And I mean, I haven't played Crick in a while, so whenever I built Crick as my first kind of CDH deck, it was purely a like, I don't know how to play yet. I don't know the stack. I don't think Crick can pay into X with black with life.
No,
So if he could pay into X with life, it would change my rating a little bit. But since it has to be other mana sources for the X, and there's 2 of them, that's what kills it for me. Like two generic and 8 life. If I want everybody to sacrifice 1 creature and I don't get to avoid it myself, is kind of meh. Like it, yeah, I can return it with a finality counter, but then I'm paying 3 more life, so it's 11 life
I
and
I,
2. Like,
I think with like braids, it would be interesting to just start sacking stuff and then having it come back.
yeah,
But again,
but then you need 4 black mana and braids. Yeah,
we're looking at gimmicky. Do look, I don't know exactly if this has a full art, but if this has a full art, like that would be really
I
cool.
believe it does have. And like they're calling it something different, but to me it's so they have TV screen
Oh,
arts, they have Shatterfoil glimmer arts, and then there's blacklight poster arts, which there's quite a few art treatments in here. Like it's been a really cool set. And then there's 2 different Meat Hook Massacres that have art like the generic one, where they have different numbers because one of them is just the art, and then the second one, a lot of the cards have like a secret creature that's kind of hiding in wait. So you never know when you pull even the generic art if I have a special art, because I could have the generic art or I could have the one that has a different set number that has a creature lying in the background waiting to attack, which is cool.
so when I'm opening packs, you know, if I was to see this, this is definitely going to the side
Yeah.
somewhere. And with that, 2 is exactly where I'd place it.
I'm gonna take my force of will out again. No,
Oh,
I already
you've
burned it.
already you've already done it.
I don't agree that it's a 2. I'm gonna keep with mine as a yeah. No, it's a 2. Yeah. Uh, Overlord Balemerk. 3 generic, black black. Impending 5, 1 generic and a black. I'm gonna read this impending once. If you cast a spell for its impending cost, It enters with 5 time counters and isn't a creature until the last is removed. At the beginning of your end step, remove a time counter from it. So on the stack, it will still be a creature, so hard to counter. But when it enters, it'll become enchantment. It's like the gods from Theros. Whenever Overlord of Baelmerk enters or attacks, mill 4 cards. Then you may return a non-avatar creature card or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. It's 5/5 and it's a mythic. Um, it's a 2-cost spell at the end of the day that mills 4, returns a non-avatar creature card, so it can't return itself. So like if you bring it out, kill it, it goes to graveyard. The trigger's still on the sack. It can't loop, which is smart. And for 2, you mill 4. Basically, it's mill 4 out of those 4, draw a creature.
Mm.
Um, I think it's good. I am not going to spend a whole bunch of time on it just because for CDH play, meh. Uh, I rated it 2. To me, it's the same as the Survivor, where it's like it's cool that we're getting creatures that do sorcery speed things that we want to do, but having an enchantment stick around on the battlefield that's dockside fodder just to mill 4 and return a creature to your hand, not great. I also just don't see any crazy combos that in CDH win the game.
I think a 3 is where it's at because at the end of the day, it's a 2 for a 5/5 at some point. I
Impending 5 though, like it,
It's 5 turns,
yeah.
yeah, but maybe maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's something that's not exactly there. I Maybe we'll see it.
Yeah. I mean, in the same problem keeps coming back with the UFO, where it's like, yeah, if you could just keep, well, I mean, I guess it's hard to start. So like, it's an enchantment, and then if you find a way to flicker an enchantment, it comes back as a 5/5 creature. So there's ways to just get a big 5/5 creature, but I mean, does CDH really care about? Oh, I cast a 5/5 creature for 2? Nah, not really. Yeah, it's if it was always a creature, I would say maybe like ETB shenanigans, but you have to find a way to flicker an enchantment and then something that flickers a creature. So
Does Touch of the Spirit Realm
yeah,
remove it? Maybe
because
that's
Touch of
something.
the Spirit Realm exiles it, and then on your end step it comes back. So does it anything that would phase it out wouldn't, but Touch would.
Like I said, I think a 3 is pretty solid on it. I think 2, it isn't a bad choice either. I just
Mm-hmm.
think that maybe somebody will play it.
Yeah, and if it did anything other than self mill 4 and return a creature to your hand, I don't really think any deck abuses that too much. Yeah, I'm pretty confident with it too. So 2.5.
Yeah, I guess so.
Cool. Cursed recording. This one is crazy. So I mean, clearly it's a joke on the ring. So it's 2 red artifact. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a time counter on cursed recording. Then if there are 7 or more time counters on it, remove those counters and it deals 20 damage to you. Tap when you cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I used to run Rowan, and Rowan wants to take self damage. And in this, with this card, I could cast Rowan, turn 4, play this, build up those 7 time counters. Easy, very easy with Rowan. Take 20 damage, and then all of my red and black spells cost 20 less mana. uh,
So like Cracklewood Power and stuff like that.
yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, clearly like it's a lot of setup, but I mean, if you're playing Rowan, you need a lot of setup to win regardless. So I think it's cool. Will it see CDH play? I don't think so. I think I have to mark it as a 2 because of that. I would set it aside. Um, sounds really funny and janky in Rowan though. But I can't say that it might see some play because even Rowan doesn't see play. So,
I'm seeing it right around you. What you're saying too. I would say a 1, but it could be in a deck, so I could see 2.
yeah, a lot of the things where it's like you could also argue that it's in red, so you use it 6 times and then you have an abrade ready to take care of it before it does, or you do use it 5 times. You have an abrade ready to take care of it, so on the fifth, whenever you cast, yeah, so you'd cast abrade as your sixth spell. You would tap it, so cast the abrade on an opponent's thing, tap it, copy the abrade to hit cursed recording. Uh, it also is one of those things where you have kind of an mono red a free counter. So like, let's say I know I don't cast very many spells, but the ones that I cast, I know I want to get through. You could go, okay, I'm gonna play this. I'm playing a Tali. Or you wouldn't want to do that in Tali because you cast your opponent's instant sorceries. But let's say other idea where you copy your commander and it has a big impact on the game. You play Cursed Recording, and it's basically a free counter spell at the end of the day because you can play a card and then someone will be like, oh no, I'm countering that. And you can be like, okay, Cursed Recording, I'm going to tap it. I'm going to copy the original. So you're still pointing the counter at the original. However, as an ability, I'm going to put a new copy on the stack.
I would I would argue that maybe a Tolly. I mean, you don't care about your life, and if you don't know specifically in a Tolly if your a Tolly trigger will win you the game,
I'm going to cast 14 instant sorceries to win, though, because the way I win in Atali is
but you don't care about your life.
I care if I die.
Yeah, but if you're at 40, there's who cares if you take 20 damage and then you win.
So the way I win with Atali is E-Witness, Lightning Bolt if I can't win with you guys' stuff. So I can't kill the table with 6 Lightning Bolts because that would only be 18 damage.
What I'm saying is let's say you Atali and then you cast Molten Duplication and you're like, oh, I'm gonna copy Molten Duplication. So now I have Atali, Molten, and then a copy of Molten. Like, who cares if you take 20? I don't see that being. Is it scary? Yeah, but you'll take the 20 and then
It limits how far I can go. Like I can't win with Atali while that's out. And then also if I Molten, if one resolves, it's, well, I guess one would resolve, I would sack the copy. The second one, sack the copy. But it stops me from winning with the Tali because while it's out, it'll kill me.
I guess so. 'Cause I was thinking after the 20 damage, it just goes away.
No, and then it starts building 7 again.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you could, okay.
Because you remove those counters and then it deals 20. So uh every time you cast it, potentially every time you cast 7 it deals 20 to you.
There is a
Yeah.
world that you, Atali, you use it, and then you cast 10 spells again.
Yeah.
I could see you
Yeah.
dying.
Because
Yeah.
the way the backup for me to win with Atali is always going to be, okay, I have E-Witness and I have Lightning Bolt. Pow, 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 pow. Like, I know I can always back into that if I can't win with your spells.
I was under the assumption that it would sack itself, and that's not the case.
Yeah, if it only did the 20 damage once, yes. But it's also 4. So, like, that's kind of expensive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cool. I will. I think I said it to you.
I'm going with 2.
Yeah, cool. Enduring Courage is another one I'm going to go through pretty quickly. 2 red, enchantment creature, Dog Glimmer. When another creature you control enters, gets +2/+0, gains haste. When Enduring Courage dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. I believe it is a rare. The set symbols, especially on the red, I'm like, is that a mythic? Is that a rare? I'm not sure.
A little, yeah, a little bit confusing, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with rare as
yeah.
well.
Um, it's a creature spell that is hard to counter on the stack that gives everything haste and also buffs everything like Perforos. Perforos, you have to pay into it to get the +2/+0, but and if somebody ends up killing it, it limits the amount. It limits the type of removal you can use on it because let's say I have a kill spell, I'm not going to use it on Enduring Courage. I'm going to be like, hey guys, somebody needs to swords this if we don't want them to have haste. It's solid. I don't really think it goes in anything other than Winota personally, and I don't really see Winota being a top 16 crazy contender. I'll put it as a 3. I don't even know if Winota cares. I mean, it gives itself haste, but whenever I look at Ginger Brute and it's a 1 colorless and it has haste, and this is a 3/3 for dog that gives you a Winota swing, but like
I I would probably say a 1. I think we're pretty far off, but I don't mind being like, yeah, maybe it'll see play. I just don't see it being awesome. It's the mana cost is where it's just really high.
mm-hmm.
The ability is okay that every creature pretty much gets haste as you
Oh,
cast it.
I'm wrong. When another creature you control enters,
Yeah.
so yeah, it doesn't give itself haste. Yeah, it's ugh. Yeah, it's a 2. I mean, the haste enablers in red is always really good.
I think that it's interesting that it gives haste.
Yeah,
It's a really high cost to give something haste.
yeah. If it was a 2 generic red grants haste, I would almost say that maybe like Manadork tappers and stuff like that would use it because Tyvar is real big.
I think your initial might see some play was kind of a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
I do think that yeah,
I'll
put
go
it
down.
aside.
Yeah, I'll go down to a 2 just because it doesn't self-enable
I'll,
that
I'll
haste.
go up just because the initial value is good. It just
Yeah,
costs a lot. I think 2 is something.
yeah. I mean, anything that enables your mana dorks that's a creature that's hard to counter
This
is pretty good, but you have to invest 4 and then play your boom tender for 2. So you're investing 6 to get 5 back.
this is
Yeah.
definitely a casual. People in casual are gonna play this
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm with that.
Cool. 2, so you're 1.5.
No, I'm a 2.
Oh,
It's
you're
a
2?
2.
Okay,
Yeah.
then it's a 2. Fear of missing out. My God. So this was the first card that I saw that was spoiled. Maybe I'm not right that it was the first card that was spoiled, but it's crazy. Yeah.
This art is so cool.
Yeah, it's some weird nightmare insect looking thing just puking out a bunch of ghostly faces.
Or eating souls.
Yeah, or sucking them in. It is a 1 in a red enchantment creature nightmare. It's a rare. When fear of missing out enters, discard a card and then draw a card. Delirium. When fear of missing out attacks for the first time each turn. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. It's a 2/3. This is crazy in draft because when you cast it, you immediately add to your delirium because you discard and then draw. So it self replaces itself. And then it's a 2/3, so it's mana value 2, so it's bigger than a 2/2, which is already good. It's got a big butt. And then it gives you another combat phase, and it untaps 1 creature, but it gives you another combat phase. So like that says Tron, that says all crazy stuff.
I would argue that this is also Winota may want this.
Oh, Najila.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's good enough to go in Najila, but like
I think
untapping
Winota.
Najila and getting more like warriors is really good.
I think Winota.
Yeah, Winota for sure. 2/3 nightmare, Winota trigger, untap itself, get another Winota trigger.
The
Like,
the only issue I see with it is I would probably call it a 4 just because I don't really see how untapping 1 makes it better, but just the fact that it gives you an additional combat, there's a lot of cards that'll be like untap all creatures
oh,
or vigilance.
this is a Godo card.
Godo too. Yeah.
Godo's the same text where you untap a creature, so it's put. Oh well, no, because Godo. After this phase, there is an additional for the first time. I think it works.
Because you would just copy that creature, so it'd be another. Well, it's a legendary. It's not a legendary, so you could.
Yeah. So Godo. So you um put Helm of the Host on Fear of Missing Out. You attack with it, and then the copies come out. So
Would Sahili see this too? If you think about it, because Sahili, I'm looking at win cons with it because with an additional combat, you get a chance to swing again, copy, swing again, copy.
I don't know what Saheeli does. The
You create a cop. Well, you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, she's a planeswalker. So the only reason it works is the flicker with
the flicker. Yeah, I'm
with
sorry.
the cat. But I believe this one you put Helm the Host on it.
Swing.
All of those copies swing. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. You don't untap Fear of Missing Out. You move to combat. They all come out again. Even if this one's tapped. They're new copies. They all attack. So you get infinite combats with the copies coming out over and over and over.
It's a little high for Helm of the Host wins.
It's a backup if
It's not bad.
yeah.
It's a win con.
Yeah, like let's say you're playing Godo and you have Fear of Missing Out in your hand and you have Helm of the Host in your hand.
Yeah.
So Godo can't go into the deck and pull it out. At that point, you go, okay, I've drawn Helm of the Host. Instead of this being a dead game, let me see if I can go get Fear of Missing Out. Cool, this is no longer a loss. Boom, equip, blah.
I don't know in.
And Godo's been winning, surprisingly.
Well, I still think Winota, because
Yeah.
anything that gives you an additional combat, your vigilance can attack again.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is anything that's non-human vigilant,
Mm-hmm.
it attacks with it, and you get a couple.
And at least one more Winota trigger, too. Yeah.
At least. And you can untap any creature, right? Untap.
Yeah.
If you graveyard, untap target creature, do it that way.
Mm.
So it's. What about Kiki Jiki? Would that do it? Because.
Yeah. So let's say I have Kiki and I have the cat out, and I tap Kiki, and somebody flickers the cat. So my Kiki whiffs. If I have Fear of Missing Out as a backup, I can be like, cool, I attack with Fear of Missing Out.
Untap Kiki.
I untap Kiki. On my attack step, hold priority, make a whole bunch of really hasty cats. I don't think I can attack with them since I'm already in my attack step, but then I get another combat. So I would have these infinite cats go to second combat, kill you.
What if there's multiple of this guy and you swing? Would it be additional combats per one?
That's where I was
I know
not
that's
too sure. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. I don't know if after this phase,
if they stack all to one.
Yeah, I don't think they would stack because it says after this phase, there's an additional combat.
If it
phase.
said there is one,
but
if
you have multiple, you'd swing with one, get the additional, swing with the second one, get the additional. Yeah. So you'd have to like stagger them.
Okay.
But I definitely see this going in Godo.
I'm saying
And
it's a
Godo is
4.
winning, so I say it's a 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that this enables something to where it's going in every one of this one deck.
Yeah, and I don't think it I mean it's also good in Paco Halden too. Like
The problem with Godo is he's not is he a CEDH commander? Of course.
he wins. He's not only a CDH commander, he's been top 16ing
Lately,
yeah.
because I haven't seen very many Godo. If you're gonna go mono red, you go Magda. Magda is fast.
Godo's pretty fast. It's literally I count I
Count
forget
to 7, I
count
think
to
is what it.
7, which I mean Atalia is count to 7. You've seen how many times I've gotten that. So
Atali gets help from green.
the green doesn't there is a little bit of help as far as mana ramping, but most of my
But
get Atali out is red rituals and artifacts.
still though,
Yeah.
I think that if you're saying mono, if you have 2 decks on the table and you're looking at Godo and Magda, I
Magda for sure has topped 16 more events, but I
it
have seen a
wins.
resurgence of Godo lately.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And again, if this was make Godo better,
Yeah.
like significantly,
Yeah.
I would say this is a 5.
In my mind,
This is more of a 4 to me.
well, I mean, even so, if it makes Godo a contender, it's still only a 4 by definition.
In any color deck that the card can be put.
Yeah, so
That's right.
you would never put it in blue farm.
That's true.
Yeah.
So 4 is where I'm at.
Yeah, yeah. 4 it is.
I like it though.
Yeah. So new leyline. Leyline of Resonance, 2 generic, red. Enchantment. If Leyline of Resonance is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. I saw a lot of people saying that this card alone makes Feather a little bit more viable in CDH. I cannot think of a commander that's real big on targeting your own stuff with instant or sorcery spells. I have thought about putting this in Atali because potentially put it in the field. Anytime I would copy Atali, anytime that I would play a copy spell on Atali, it would copy it. And the reason that I like that is I'm not really after 2 Atali ETBs. Would love them, but if you have a counter spell in your hand, I'm putting 2 copies on the stack. So it becomes, I'm going to put a copy on the stack. There's 2, counter 1. I don't care. I think I might try to find a space for this in Atali. It is a dead card if I don't get it in my opening mulligan.
That's the biggest problem with a lot of the ley lines. And again, it's the mechanic, even gemstone. The good thing about gemstone though is it's still a colorless mana.
The other thing that I'm seeing about Atali is I don't really have a problem with people directly countering my stuff. What I have a problem with is people going, yeah, I don't care if Atali comes out, silence. Yeah, like ETB on the stack. Because then it's like, okay, well, I get a copy of Atali, and then I'm still silent, so I can't cast any of them. Or, okay, I'm going to Mind Break Trap the entire stack.
I think the fact that this is a ley line, it should be set aside.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this is really close to being just think it's neat.
It's for me as an Atali player, I see it and I'm like, this gives Atali a lot more resilience because I have a bunch of copy spells, and now instead of me putting 1 on the stack, I'm putting 2 on the stack. However, I don't know if I'm going to keep it in the deck because it's one of those things. It doesn't help me get Atali out, and It just makes me more resilient. I think personally, I'm gonna take Leyline of Resonance in and take Guttural Response out. I'm gonna swap those two.
So this will be a replacement card for one in your Atali deck.
Yeah, it will go in my Atali deck. I will play test it.
I
I don't know that it will stay, so I'm gonna put it as a 3. Um, if I try it out, like whenever we're playing, and I'm like, oh wow, like you guys just this brings Atali to a new level. I would probably go back and say 4, but for me as an Atali player, it's a 3.
I could get behind that. My issue with it is it's 4 cost because all the ley lines are relatively expensive. They
It's
have to be.
100% a dead card if I ever draw it.
And that's a problem.
It is,
Now
however,
you do mill or you do mulligan quite a bit in Atali because you want
yeah,
specific hands.
I mulligan quite a bit, and also I cast things for free quite a bit. I would be cool casting this for free, and on top of it,
Oh, that's
I
true.
wheel a lot.
That's true
Yeah,
too. I think that it's very specific in Atali. Like there's no way that
yeah,
this is not going to be as good in other decks. With Atali, I forget that if this is the top card, it just
hmm,
comes out, and that's
yeah.
decent.
And there is a goblin commander that has this exact effect. So you could double up on that effect in that goblin commander. Casual card, not CEDH,
And
but
you're saying a 3.
I'm saying a 3. Obviously I'm not going to come back after this podcast and be like it was a 4. Like, but
I
I
think that
don't
it's
see
solid.
it being a huge. I don't see it being crazy in Atali where I'm like Atali is a new. Atali is going to top 4 now. Like it's a new deck.
I think that in a very specific instance, this could be silly. So
Mhm.
let's say you Atali trigger on the top. This is here, and you're like, heck
Yeah,
yes, I have um, multi duplication or a copy spell in hand.
yeah, and I wish that Eldritch Evolution, all of those cards that sacrifice a creature as an additional cost. I wish those counted, but they don't because you're just sacrificing the creature.
Yeah. So with that, I think it's a solid 3. I think I think it could be a 4 with you. I think it's definitely better than a 1 or a 2
Hmm.
in Atali.
Yeah,
So I'm with you.
cool. 3
I agree 100%.
piggy bank.
This is cool as heck.
Yeah, piggy bank. One generic and a red. It is a demonic, crazy looking piggy bank that has eyes everywhere and teeth where the cork would go, and it's all broken. Artifact creature, boar toy. When piggy bank dies, create a treasure token. It's a 3/2. It looks like something that would be on an episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, like
I
art wise.
agree. I I'm gonna kind of throw out a reasoning that you may agree with and you may not on this card because I think we're gonna agree at a level.
I have a 3-word review of it. It goes in Corvold.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
So you're saying that a 4 is where it's at?
I'm gonna say 3 only because it's 2. I think Corvold has a lot of one cost instants and sorceries that do very similar things. I do know that prize statue is better than this, and it's an artifact. So I don't know. I think Corvold is efficient enough that it has enough of these in the deck where it's looking for better replacements and not more.
Yeah.
But I didn't play him for very long, so I can confidently say a 3. I don't think having an artifact creature that increased dockside count is great. So I'm personally not going to go a 4, but I could definitely understand if somebody was like, no, I want as many of these effects as possible. I don't care that it's 2. It goes in.
So we were a little bit more humble. Um I'm going to tell you my reasoning behind it's a 3 instead of a 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is an uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas somebody's going to be like, you could put it aside for later, you're going to have one of the. If you
Mm-hmm.
open packs, you're probably going to see this
Yeah.
just because it's uncommon.
Yeah.
And it's useful.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
I know
3 is where it's at.
I know it'll probably see play in some Corvold decks. I don't think it's a I have to make room for this.
It's also a 2 for a 3/2,
Yeah.
and that you don't care if it dies.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, probably a Winota card. It feels weird. We see a lot of Winota, so we're always like Winota. I'm sure I when I first saw this, I thought it was a Magda card because like it's an artifact creature and it poops out treasures.
The typing's there, the ability is there,
Yeah,
the toughness and power is there. I 3.
yeah. The only reason I say it's not Magda is because you have to turn it into a dwarf to get the tap and tap and tap and tap, which is hard in red. So, I mean, maybe it doesn't care because I know Magda sacrifices 5 artifacts, so it would sacrifice and replace itself. But yeah, it three is very fair. Razorkin Needlehead, red creature, human assassin. Razorkin Needlehead has first strike during your turn. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Razorkin Needlehead deals 1 damage to them. It's a 2/2. If you've listened to this podcast, you know I'm a big fan of punishment effects. I would say we are a big fan of punishment effects.
100%.
When those punishment effects are when someone draws a card, that's great. That's what you want to do in CEDH. I'm gonna keep my review short. It's a 4. It goes in Ogier 100%.
You said what is it?
It's a 4 because it goes in that red Ogier deck that we've been seeing quite a bit.
I'm going to argue a little bit too with it and say that it could also go in Obnixis.
Oh yeah, like yeah, definitely Obnix. Yeah, so 4. Yeah,
Obnixis is a little bit not as good as far as just a commander itself.
mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that it's red, not colorless red, hurts it, but not by much.
Yeah.
Not by much at all.
Anytime somebody draws a card, you basically draw a temporary card, and if you don't have him out, you're still punishing them.
I will say, and I'm gonna whisper, that this does not care about your initial draw, so it hits you no matter what.
Yeah.
So every turn you're doing 1 damage.
Yeah.
I like it. I don't think that it's. I don't think it's a 5. I think that it's a 4 solid.
This is what I wanted Bowmasters to do. Like, to me, if they made this black, one generic, one black, and then they banned Bowmasters and then sent everybody a free replacement, like, you know,
I'd be upset about Bowmasters, but I love Bowmasters.
But, yeah, I think this is what I wanted Bowmasters to do. To me, it's a 4. Great design. Love it. Love the idea, especially draw hate. And then the art is like crazy cool. Like,
and the only reason it's not a 5 is that not all decks will run it
because it's 2 red. If it was a generic in a red, I would say that
it'd be
almost close. I would say Blue Farm would run it, you know, because Blue Farm is I'm going to try to amass more value than you, and at least
swinging is also good because it's first strike.
Yeah, at least with Razorkin, you could be like, okay, so if you try to outpace me and draw, I'm gonna keep popping you in the face, and also it's first strike for Timna.
Solid card.
Yeah, like I think people are going to try to put this in Blue Farm because what is it? What's the 1 cost red that gives you 2?
I can't think of it now.
I can see that. Yeah, I see the art. I see Chandra on it and all of that. But...
Yeah, it's there. I think that personally playing Blue Farm, a lot of Blue Farm is what card do you take out? There's not a card I would take out.
Bowmasters.
Yeah. No. If Bowmasters would ever be banned, I could see this being a replacement.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's at this moment.
I mean, the amount of wheels that you have when you wheel, you're doing 7 damage to everybody. Like I could see somebody turn 1 forcing this out in blue farm and everybody being like, ugh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Ride of Flame.
Ride of Flame.
Yeah.
Solid 4.
Yeah. Solid 4. This is the Roller Crusher ride. It's X2 generic red. Legendary enchantment, which is meaningful. Delirium. If a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a permanent or player while there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, it deals double that damage instead. When Roller Crusher ride enters, it deals X damage to each of up to X target creatures. It's good. It's one of those cards that when it comes out for 3, it does need some setup. It's not just pay 3, all of your non-combat damage is doubled. And then whenever it enters, it deals X damage up to X target creatures. So you could cast it for 2, or you could cast it for 4, and then do 1 damage and pick off an Esper Sentinel.
This frustrates me because it's almost
Yeah.
It is on the verge of being crazy.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the X kills it. I think that if it had a set number, if it said, okay, this does this damage.
For me, it's the Delirium that kills it. If it literally was just 2 in a red, and it just said if a source you control deals non-combat damage, double it. Great. It has too many. The thing that you want on it, you need Delirium, and then if you're gonna cast this for 4, which is a lot, all it does is ping off an Esper Sentinel right away. Yeah.
I guess in general, it's a win more card. I'm thinking Sisse because it's legendary, and I could go and grab it.
If you're doing non-combat damage with Sisse though, you're already there.
Yeah, I'm already winning. Yeah, it's win more initially. Yeah. I think that it's really cool concept. I think that this is a card you want to set aside. I don't know if I see any decks that are like, this is going in now.
Yeah, I would say 2. I think red has so many good extra damage, double damage cards that I don't think this replaces it. Red isn't really filling up its graveyard with a bunch. I mean, like, artifact land instant sorcery would turn this on, so
if it said when this comes into the battlefield, if when it enters the battlefield, deal 4 damage to each of up to
4 damage, like a pyroclasm,
or to so many creatures or players.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would be good because then I would try to blink it with Sisse and have a tutor.
Yeah.
The fact that it's an X spell and I have to drop it into X and the Delirium is there, it's a lot of hoops and hurdles to try to get this to work.
Yeah, I agree. I'd say 2.
2 is solid.
Yeah, I don't. Looking at every card that's ever been printed, I don't think it's the best extra damage red card. So yeah, cool.
Yep.
Screaming Nemesis, 2 generic red, creature spirit, mythic, haste. Whenever Screaming Nemesis is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. If a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. It's a 3/3. So it's a 3/3 with haste. If you swing with it and they block, they cannot gain life for the rest of the game. If there's a Bowmaster out and you have one and you pop it for 1, you can just go, I am turning off your life gain for the rest of the game, which you wouldn't think is very relevant, but Tymna Kraum relies on their life gain to offset Tymna's effects. So you could just be like, if you draw, if you want to draw though, you don't get 2 life back. Yeah,
yeah, you're getting ready to put yourself on a counter.
Yeah, and this doesn't care if it gets removed after that. Like it's a for the rest of the game, you just can't gain life. Done. It's always on you.
This is also, I'm gonna swing at Keurig. I do not care. Just keep swinging until he blocks or
Mm-hmm.
until the player blocks, and then if they do, now Keurig is shut down.
So the other thing is whenever it is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. So I could be like, hey, I've got this 3 cost spirit. I'm gonna swing it into you. If you block with your Esper Sentinel, I will turn off Crick's life gain for the rest of the game. Can we make that deal?
I know that it hurts you, but
Yeah.
you're also putting this person that is gonna win
Yeah.
pretty quickly
Yeah.
out of the game.
Yeah. And like I like that it opens up. You could even say like, hey Sisse, you're a 6/6. Can I swing at you,
Just kill it.
kill it? You'll deal 6 damage to it. I'll deal 6 damage to them, and they can't gain life for the rest of the day. Which, if Sisse is a 6/6, I'm not making deals with Sisse, but like like I like the flexibility on the politics on this card. I think I really like it. I can't say that it for sure goes in any deck, so I will give it a 3.
That's
I like it enough to just give it a 4 and be like, I don't care about the rules, it's a 4, but to
it's
my own system, it's a 3.
it's a
Like,
high used 3.
yeah,
I think that just by the metric of it might see some play. I I don't know the deck, and I can't say that this is the deck that it'll go in.
I would put it in Obnixis because Obnixis has a lot of pingers where it's deal a damage, and you could deal a damage to the Screaming Nexus and then deal that damage to somebody and turn off their life.
It's 3
Um,
though.
it's 3, and also no offense, it's Obnixis. No one's playing that deck now.
That's my thoughts. Is
Yeah,
it's 3. If it was one red and a colorless, I would be a lot more adamant to say it might be a 5. But being that it's 3, it's really hard to justify the power of it and then have that tactic.
yeah. I mean, it clearly goes into those red decks that want to just burn the table down, but um, I believe Stranglehold does the same thing where players can't gain life and they can't search. So
I could see. Well, no, never mind. I was gonna say maybe Crackle with power would want to deal with that, but I just don't. I don't know.
yeah,
I
all right,
think it's a solid 3.
I agree. Untimely malfunction. I am excited about this one. So it's a colorless red instant. Choose one. Destroy target artifact. Change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. 1 or 2 target creatures can't block this turn. I'm gonna leave this one short. It's a 4, almost a 5. So this is a upgrade to any deck that's running a braid. I don't think in CDH we care as much about having artifact removal anymore. I don't think every single deck mains a braid. I think for the most part we've moved with the turbo nature to take it out. But the fact that you now have an abrade that destroys a target artifact or is a deflecting SWAT is really good. Almost a 5, almost there, but I would have to say a 4.
I would say a 4 for sure.
Oh wait, 5. This will be a strong ad in any deck that the colored deck card can be run in. So it's a 5.
It
It's a strong ad.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's versatile in all decks. I don't see it in Blue Farm, but I could see it in Krakashima, and I could
Yeah.
see it in any deck that's red without blue.
So right now, one of the cards I'm seeing time over time is that red spree that is red, and then for an extra 1, it's a deflecting SWAT. And I'm seeing that a lot, and this will just completely replace that and a braid. So I think almost every red deck. I think you're right. I don't think you want or need a second deflecting SWAT in Blue Farm, but I could see it. You
This
know,
is this is the issue. any deck, or this is my point, any deck without blue that's red will probably run
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
or could run this and it be a strong addition.
Yeah.
And that being said, will it be every single deck?
Yeah.
No. But I do think that if you do not have blue and you're running deflecting SWAT and you're like, man, I wish I had some way to stop some of the counters, this is it.
Yeah.
This runs it. And it's 3 abilities on one card. That's 2.
Yeah.
Like, you could destroy an artifact. Let's say it's um Cursed Totem or something. Like, this is a good card.
I bet I don't think every blue farm is going to run this, but I would bet that there are those times where you winning the game is contingent on if you can get through with Timna, because you have a top deck tutor that you're going to do. If you have 2 extra mana, which is a big if, you could just say, you have 2 creatures, they can't block this turn, I'm getting through.
But the fact that I could say, okay, I could either on my turn get through an attack player 2,
Yeah.
or I could destroy the artifact that's becoming an issue for me,
Yeah.
or I could also
Yeah.
have a counter spell in case this might happen.
Yeah. I can destroy Null I can deflecting SWAT, or I can guarantee get through with Timna.
What?
Yeah.
The, I do want to note, again, Whisper Mode. This is an uncommon.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't understand why some of the cards are rares that end up being 20 cents. And then we have cards like this that we're probably going to print out like crazy as far as Magic goes. And it's going to be...
This is going to be a $5 uncommon.
It doesn't make sense to me on the value of the rarity.
Yeah.
This card is worth... This is worth... I don't know if I would pay $5. If all I could do is buy it, I wouldn't mind spending $5 on it.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, not financial advice, but while I'm opening Duskmourn, if I get one of these, I'm putting it aside in the money pile. Like,
Also,
if not using it.
If you are listening to this podcast and you're even considering CEDH, the chances are that your deck is over... It's in the 3-digit margin at least.
Yeah. I mean,
so
we were right about Polywog Prodigy, very right, before anybody else was like, keep this. And it's a $20, almost $30 card now. Like, put this in the money pile. This is a card that if you're not running red, you'll want to put it in your trade binder and be like, I have these. Like, hold on to them.
I would argue
for about
that
2 weeks.
I would argue that Into the Flood Mall, and maybe it's just our region, but I have not seen... I have bought multiple packs.
Oh yeah.
At least 20. At least 20 packs of collector boosters, and have not found one Into the Flood Mall.
I bought 2 collector booster boxes because I found them at a very good price. Got 0.
I don't know what the going price is of a Into the Flood Mall.
I don't either.
But this is...
You've pulled more raised foils than Into the Flood Mall.
That is very true.
Yeah.
I have pulled more cards out of the collector's boosters that are over $50, or we'll say over 40.
Yeah.
And one of them being 300.
Yeah.
Then I have gotten a Flood Mall.
Yeah.
So the rarity is silly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand what we're doing.
Yeah.
But this should be a mythic,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I am glad that they are printing cards that are obtainable. I very much support that. I want people to have this interaction. I'm big on people having interaction. I would not argue if it was a mythic, but I like it's an
My
uncommon.
issue, though, is this may be one of those cards that is an uncommon that is in reality a mythic rare.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like not Wizards rating,
Yeah.
but you may see one of these out of a box because Into the Flood Mall was similar. I unless we're
Yeah.
just not buying play boosters and we're seeing the effects of it.
Yeah. I mean, there shouldn't be any difference. Like, but
It
but yeah,
it I should have a foil Into the Flood Mall
me too.
to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
and I just don't. And
Yeah.
the only one that I've gotten was from this nice guy that was like, yeah, I have two of them. I'll trade you for
Yeah.
this planeswalker that
Pick any rare in my bulk.
you have
Take
it.
it. It's yours. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I traded a planeswalker for an Into the Football.
I traded like a $3 rare, and I was like, I'm happy to do that. Thank you. Like, yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those cards. Put it in, put it away, put it up. It's gonna get play. This is a good card.
It's a 5. Where are you putting it?
It is a 5.
Yeah. I was like, you.
It's not the best of the set, but it's
Yeah.
good.
You'll eventually put it in Blue Farm.
I don't think so.
It does everything you want in Blue Farm.
Yeah, but there's the problem with Blue Farm is there's so many cards that are really good.
When I say you, I misspoke. When I say you will want to put it in Blue Farm, I mean collectively as a whole. This will go into quite a few Blue Farm decks.
There will be Blue Farms that run this.
Yeah. That's more what I was.
And
meaning.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think you personally have kind of gotten tired of sheriffing the table, so you personally will not. But I think people that are more into the mid-range, late range, I don't care if I get ties, I want to win or get ties, Blue Farm will run this.
Or if you don't have some of the cards, because Blue Farm can be an expensive deck.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you don't have a Wheel of Fortune,
Yeah, this will, yeah.
this could easily play it. If
Yeah.
you don't have a
I was about to say Lion's Eye Diamond, but you're not playing Blue Farm
you
without
don't
Lion's.
play without it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have like a Final Fortune,
Yeah.
this could do it.
Yeah.
Let's say you don't have, I don't know, deflecting SWAT for whatever reason.
Yeah.
This could hold the place of deflecting SWAT for a little bit.
For sure.
Good card.
Boop. Enduring Vitality. This will be a real quick one for me. Colorless, green, enchantment creature, Elk Glimmer, Vigilance. Creatures you control have tap and 1 mana of any color. When it dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. It's not a creature. It's a 3/3. It's a 2 in CEDH. In casual, crazy. I will say same thing that I said about the haste enabler. It's a creature that for 3, when it comes down, probably you're not saving a swan song for this. It's a creature, you're not gonna force a will. It's gonna hit the board 9 out of 10 times it's cast. It has an immediate effect. It's great in Balin, which, Balin, not a tournament deck in my opinion anymore. But if I get this down, again, it's okay, well, we need to remove it. And it's like, removing it won't do anything. We got to exile it if we want it gone.
So, creatures you control have... Okay, so all creatures get Mana Dork ability.
Yeah, even Sisay.
This is a good Kinnan-ish card, maybe?
Yeah. There are... I forgot. Did I rate it? It's a 2.
I haven't rated it.
Yeah. So for me, it's a 2 just because, like, there are other effects, including a ley line, that do that better.
I disagree. I think it's a 3. Might see some play. At least. I think I would almost say that it's a Kinnan. Because if you have Kinnan, now all of your creatures are Mana Dorks, which is Silly Town. And the creature itself has tap, add the mana color. It's sticky. I'm gonna say it's a 4. Will it take over a spot for Kinnan? Maybe.
So we already have Elven Chorus. That's a 3 generic red, which it's 1 more pip, but It's an enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast spells from the top of your library. And creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color
But
that
it's
we've
in
not
red.
seen. No, that's in green.
You said it was 3 and then a red.
Oh, sorry, 3 and a green.
I'm sorry.
We did so many red.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. Is that a creature though?
No, it's an enchantment. So like
Okay.
stickier. Yeah.
However, with Kinnan, let's say you have this in Kinnan, you do a Kinnan and it's gonna whiff, but one of these is it. This is also, you put it out. Now you can tap Kinnan for 2 colors. You could possibly get another Kinnan trigger. I think it's a Kinnan card. Is Kinnan running amok right
Yeah,
now?
he's
No.
12% conversion.
So no.
Yeah.
But the metric we're using is, I know this will see play in a certain deck,
Yeah.
and this is a Kinnan card.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Tyam as well. I mean, if you're locking the game down, it turns your devoted druid into tap for a black, untap it for a -1, tap for a white, untap it, tap for a green.
I
Um,
If this was legendary, I could see Sisay running it because
do you? Sorry, I just got like a light bulb above my head, visibly. Like, what do you think about sushi running it? Because it turns the thralls into arcane signets.
I would be curious. Shout out to our main sushi
Yeah, our
player.
Jade Sushi, Resident Jade Sushi.
I would be curious if this is a card you would run, and I'm probably going to ask you straight out.
Yeah,
That being said, I'm going to hold. I'm going to hold at a 4.
I'm gonna hold it a 2. I definitely see where it could be a 4. I'm not convinced. I see it being one of those trap
Could
cards.
could we agree on a 3? Might see some play.
Well, it's gonna be a, so when we average it out, the end answer will be a 3 because
I
you're a 4, I'm a 2.
I agree with a 3.
Yeah,
If you can agree with a 3,
yeah.
it's good.
I think it's one of those cards that you'd look at and you'd be like, this is going in my deck, and then you'd get it in your deck and you'd play a couple times and be like, this is leaving my deck. You know?
So so for all of y'all listeners out there that are like, why aren't you throwing your force on this one? I don't I don't think it's force worthy, and if we can agree on a 3, I'm cool with it. At the end of the day, will I see it in a certain deck? If Kennen was top notch, I would argue a little more, but Kennen is not. If Jay's Sushi was, or I'm sorry, if Sushi was a top notch deck, and I would agree, I would argue more with it being one of the best in the set, but it's just not. Neither
Yeah.
one is top 16ing every time.
Yeah. For me, this Tyvar and Tevish on the field is like, whoa.
Again,
Yeah.
if this was
Yeah.
legendary,
Yeah.
I would say, you know what? Now I can get Sisay colors with Sisay and a couple of
Mhm.
creatures.
Yeah.
Now we're playing. I've turned my Kennen, because Sisay runs Kennen normally. I've turned my Kennen into a mana dork that taps for 2.
It is a strict, in a lot of decks, it will be a upgrade to Relic of Legends. It is 2 green, so it's hard to cast, but I would, if I was still playing Omnath, I'd run both. But I think a lot of people that run Relic of Legends will look at this and go, if I can run Kinnan and I have a Relic of Legends, maybe I run Enduring Vitality instead.
The only issue I would have, because in the Sisay deck I play, it does run Relic. Relic can tap immediately. That's the only problem.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's the only problem I have with it.
So
That
you'd
being
probably
said,
run both, but you wouldn't take like,
if this was
yeah,
legendary, I would take Relic out.
and you're not going to take um any of your mana dorks like your Bloom Tender or the Faber or Elder.
It's not worth that. It's
Yeah.
definitely worth, if it was legendary, it would be worth the spot for Relic.
Cool. Average as a 3.
3 I'm good with.
Head Shredder 2 generic green artifact vehicle. Whenever Head Shredder attacks, you may mill 2 cards. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put them onto the battlefield tapped. Crew 1, it's a 5/5. Purely this is in here because it and I always forget the name of the crab, but it's a crab that on landfall will mill 2 to 3 cards or something like that. So this and Head Shredder pretty much becomes a I put all of my lands onto the battlefield tapped. I mill my entire library for the most part. It is milling your entire library and putting all of your lands on the battlefield tapped strong. Probably not in CDH, but um, it's good. I like it. It has potential. Um, I say it's a 2
I'm saying
in
two.
CDH.
Two,
Yeah,
two is solid with
yeah.
me here.
If we're talking about modern or anything else where you could run four of each, crazy for it.
Yeah.
But in CEDH, this being a one of, the crab being a one of, I'm not gonna go put that combo in Nadu. Spoiler alert: I'm playing Nadu now. So, yeah,
It has not been a fun experience
yeah,
for everybody.
yeah.
It's a good deck though.
I wouldn't put it in Nadu, and it does the things that Nadu wants to do. I guess potentially if I do not have access to Nadu and I just want to make a whole bunch of Scoot Swarms and I have oh poo poo dinosaurs in my hand. I always forget the real name of the card.
Finale.
Finale of Devastation.
We say the
It
unedited
yeah,
version. That's the name of
yeah.
what we call it.
It gives me access to winning with my combo with no Nadu triggers. But
Yeah.
I'm not trying to back up at Nadu. Nadu is I have a goal and I've got counters, so try to stop me. Yeah.
There is a card that I believe is probably the best in the set that we'll talk about that's possible um possible Nadu.
Mm-hmm.
This one is good, but I think the other one is better.
Yeah, and the more I'm thinking about it, like let's say I mill all of my lands out onto the battlefield tapped, and one of them is Guy's Cradle, and I have poo poo tons of Scoot Swarms. As long as I have that one Minamo land and a blue open, I can just go, okay, blue, tap, untap my legendary permanent, which is Gaia's, tap for 300 green. Like I see potential. I'm not interested in backing up in Nadu, but I could see somebody putting this in. I will still say it's a 2 though.
Put it aside.
Yeah.
This may be one of those ones as well that you're just like, this is crazy with this. Let us know.
Yeah.
But for now, I would say put it aside. I think that it's a good card.
Yeah. Kona, Rescue Beastie. 3 generic red legendary creature beast survivor. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona Rescue Beastie is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. It is legendary. It puts a free permanent from your hand onto the battlefield if you can tap it. You do that with Springleaf Drum. I could see a very strong mono green commander deck that gets Kona out through multiple ways, taps Kona, moves to combat, puts out the stupidest, biggest thing possibly you can go get with Worldly Tutor, and just wins right then and there.
At the beginning of your second main phase, if the rescue beast is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. There's a lot of cards like you've mentioned before, like Springleaf.
Mm-hmm.
Would it being legendary? Would it be a Sisay card? I've been playing a lot of Sisay. I don't know. I don't think so.
Nah.
I do think that this, if your opening hand,
your planeswalkers are permanent, so you could just cheat out.
There's good ones.
Yeah, Nico Bolas and just win.
Yes, and then I could
if Sisay's 5 and there's no way you can get her to 6 that turn, you could
Sisay
Kona.
wins at 5 though, because like
Yeah,
you'll
but
put a card.
if it's stuck in your hand, it gives you an out.
It does. Is it good enough to throw in? I
No.
don't
Yeah.
think so. Would this be an interesting commander by itself?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because with a springleaf drum or just attacking, you're gonna do it, and you're also gonna have this creature. People aren't gonna let this thing just hit because on your second main, it's tapped. So
Yeah. So I will I like it. So let's say you have Jeweled Lotus, a green, Springleaf Drum, or a Soul Ring. Well,
you would need a couple of
yeah,
things.
Jeweled Lotus, green, um, a land. You have a Lotus Petal and a Springleaf Drum, which is a very common
It
Rogsai hand.
it plays.
And let's say any of your other cards are giant things like Vorinclex that gives you double land and everybody's lands stay tapped. If it gives you the tree that triples your mana generation, um, you could look at a mono green hand and go, I have a Jeweled Lotus. I can pop out a Vorinclex turn 1. You could also look at a hand and go, all I have is a Jeweled Lotus and a forest, but I have a multitude of giant, stupid things. One of them is the Phyrexian portal that Magda runs. You could go Jeweled Lotus, land, get Kona out. Turn 2, swing with Kona.
Hear me out.
Boom.
This may be a mono green. This may be the mono green CEDH commander that we're looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
I don't know what green does to win. What is the win line with just green?
With just green,
Other than beat face.
I mean, infinite mana survival, which big mana survival, which if you're dumping stuff out, you could also dump out a I always forget the big green creature that gives everything XX and beat face. You're doing combat damage pretty much every time.
Okay. So hear me out. With a Court of Calling, you could convoke this. So summon, convoke,
Yep.
Court of Calling, throw out, drop whatever.
And then drop whatever from your hand. Yeah.
Will it be crazy CEDH? I don't know. This is a question.
Next week, and maybe I'll drop the Moxfield link, but next week I'm brewing this 100%.
Oh, you are knocking this out.
I'm not gonna. It's interesting enough for me where I immediately want to brew a good mono green commander that tries to get out Vorinclex and those stupid mana triplers, and it can also get out an enchantment. So the enchantment that we're running in on math that also tripled your mana generation, also viable. Like you could just
God, I can't think of the name. No, I think that this is very interesting.
Yeah, I would definitely prefer creatures. That's why I was thinking Vorinclex, because it's like,
what about Galta? Galta does something, right?
I don't know what Galta is. Oh, puts all creatures whenever it attacks, puts all creatures out onto the battlefield. So
yeah,
for me, it's I like that if I literally look at my hand and go, okay, I have a forest, I have a Jeweled Lotus, and I have a Worldly Tutor. I can literally just go, I put out Kona. In my upkeep, I tap the green, Worldly Tutor of Vorinclex to the top, draw it. I attack with Kona. I have Vorinclex out. Not only do my lands tap for an additional mana, but whenever you guys tap lands, that land does not untap during the controller's next untap step. So like you could lock the game down really quickly. The problem is, how does this deck close? And there's ways in green, but it's not fast.
I'm not a big green player. I've never been. I've actually I have a little bit of hate for green. However,
It's the worst color in CDH. Like as much as I like it, it's the worst.
if I knew all of the win cons in my head, I could be like, this is how you win with this deck.
Yeah.
This deck has very crazy potential, and be it doubling season, you want to just drop out,
Yeah.
turn whatever you summon this thing,
Yeah.
be it whatever it may be.
Yeah. And the only reason I say creature is because you have so many creature tutors in green that it's the only reliable way. So like the enchantments, you can't go tutor the enchantments. You just have to hope they're in your hand. But you could look at a hand with Kona and just be like, this is stupid. Let's go. And all you need is a jeweled lotus. Like
And being that it's mono green, I could see that glimmer we just went through
yeah.
being part of this,
And then,
movement.
you know, let's say Winota plays the thing where all creatures enter the battlefield tapped. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's silly town.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
This is a. I don't want to say that this is the best card of this set, just because it's green.
It, in my opinion, it's the most excited I am for a new CDH commander.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that if this had multiple colors,
Yeah.
or if this was any color but green, I would throw the force of will at you. I just
Yeah.
like, this is winning.
And I think just for next podcast, I will change 5 to be this is a strong add in any color deck the card can be in, or this will be a new CDH commander.
I agree.
It's a 5.
I agree.
Yeah.
This if the method was, if 5 was that, this is a heavy contender.
Yeah. I'm gonna just edit it right now. 5 is we will see this as a new CDH commander.
Then let's agree that this is a 5
Yep.
based on that.
Yep.
I'm cool with that. Will it be the best card in the set? I don't know. If
Nah.
it was any other color, maybe.
Yeah.
If it was multiple colors, imagine this being Grixis or something.
If this was Golgari, like,
This would be dumb.
yeah, they made the right choice. It being 4 because you can't just jeweled lotus land and combo out. Like this is well designed. I don't think beast or survivor matters, but
No.
I love it.
Beast or Survivor has no play on it. The mono green is the only reason I'm not throwing Force of Will at you.
Yeah,
But this is crazy.
yeah. Next card, Leyline of Mutation. 2 green. If Leyline of Mutation, it's an enchantment. It's Leyline, so if it's in your opening hand, you just put it on the battlefield. You may pay Wooburg, so white, blue, black, red, green, rather than pay the mana cost for spells you cast. There is a commander that does that. It's Joda. This will be a backup in Joda where people will just be like, cool, if I get this out, I start the game with my commander on the field. If you lock me down to where I can't get my commander out anymore, I start the game with the commander on the field. As a backup, if you lock commanders down, I have my commander on the field. Does Joda, or like Fist of Suns is really good. This also with Morphon, you just can put any creature out, I believe, because he makes creature cards you cast cost 1 less colored mana. So since you may cast them for Wooburg, it's just okay. This is a 0 cost creature. Great high power casual card. Not good in CDH. It's a 2. I don't think we have a bunch of Jodas or Fist of Sun decks running around, so it's cool. It's a 2 though.
I was gonna say a 3, but being that this is CEDH, 2.
This will never matter in CDH.
No, it's too much.
The fact that you have to have one,
5 is high.
Yeah, like you basically lose the game when Sisse has 5/5. So it's like
the problem is 5 is high even if it's all colorless.
Yeah.
Or all generic.
Yeah, like let's say you have an Agatha Cauldron out to change everything. That's still 5. To cast anything in your hand, why are you running things that are higher than 5?
No. Put it aside.
Yeah,
I think it's a ley line. So
yeah.
ley lines are always going to be more than just it looks neat, but I think it's a 2
And
for
there is
sure.
a companion that I believe the companion rule is you don't have more than one of the same colored pip in any card in any creature or something. But like this is 2 green already, so I've heard that there's a companion that makes this a little bit better, but you're not going against Rogsai with this. So like, all right, so it's 2. Overlord of the Hotwoods. 3 generic green green. Enchantment creature, avatar horror. It's a mythic. Impending 4. Colorless green green. When Overlord of the Haunted Woods enters or attacks, create a tapped colorless land token named Everywhere. That is every basic land type. It's a 6/5. So for 3 mana, you can get a Wooburg basic land that gets you out of Blood Moon, all back to basics, all of that silly stuff. If it was legendary, it would go in Sisay because you just pull out a 6/5 that gives you a free Wooburg land. uh, I almost want to say maybe Najila would kind of like this. It's very specific, very cool. And if you've seen the Shatterfoil alternate art of the Glimmers and these impending creatures, like super cool. I am going to rate it a 3. I definitely could see it in Earthcraft combo decks. So like I will be putting this in Bumbleflower because with Bumbleflower it gives me a basic land that taps for all of my colors that I can keep tapping and tapping, tapping and tapping with Earthcraft. So good. What do you do with it? I don't know. So I'll pass it over to you, but it's a 3 for me.
I believe that this is the card I was like, this is going to be it. So,
It's really good with Earthcraft.
so that being said, if you were to cast this spell for its impending cost, which is 3, it enters the battlefield with 4 time counters on it. So for 3, you put this out, it puts a land on the field.
Mm-hmm. A
Um,
Wooburg land.
being that the Wooburg land doesn't necessarily matter as
Oh man,
much
to me that's crazy.
in the deck that I'm looking at this
It's a
for.
city of it's a command tower.
This this could be so initially the play for um, one of the main combo pieces in Nadu, which is a growing problem in CEDH at the moment. Like, you don't see a lot of it, but I think that it's going to be a big commander. This for 3 comes out, puts a land. If you have Displacer on the field, now you put this Displacer at put a land. At some point, you're going to have the Scoot Swarms running amok.
Yeah, that go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
That being said, I think that even though the tutor was really good, I think that this is the best card in the set because it could be in any card or any deck that plays green for 3. And then if you're not going to have this in a mono green deck per se. And I think that having it in Nadu kind of hurts it a little, but not enough for it to not matter.
It,
Like,
I've only been playing Nadu for about 2 weeks, so I could be wrong here, but 3 is way too expensive for Nadu, and the fact that it doesn't immediately give me a body to Nadu trigger off of makes this bad. If I already have Scoot Swarm out, I I am not. I don't need more landfall triggers. Like the moment if I'm ready to have Scoot Swarm out on the battlefield, I'm ready to win with it, and I would not have the mana budget for 3 that would just drop a land and it's not a creature body. If I have already gotten to the point where I have Displacer Kitten out, um, I don't I don't care to get a 6/5 that just ramps me a Wooburg land, because at that point the displacer trigger is probably going to give me a land that I care about for Nadu. Like I think it's there. If it was impending 4 for a 3 and it gave me a 1/1 body, that would something that I could get Nadu triggers off of. But
So if you have, because I've seen you have displacer on the field, displacer for you isn't necessarily a win at first.
I've lost every game where I've put displacer out early.
So with this, you put it out for 3. You displacer it, it now becomes a creature, and it gives you a land. Then you put your you use the 1 land or whatever it is to play your, what you call it, which blinks it again.
I don't have a lot of if I am blinking something in Nadu, it's going to be Nadu to reset everything. Like I would never blink this to get an extra land when I could blink Nadu and then reset my triggers on everything. Like it's the way I'm kind of looking at it is, yeah, it's good with Scoot, but it's too expensive, and by the time it would matter in Scoot, I'm already there. And by the time that I would Displacer Kitten flicker it, there's not a world where I have Displacer Kitten and Overlord of the Woods out and me doing that combo does anything of value. Because the fact that it puts a land out on the battlefield, I'm already doing that with Nadu already.
With my thing though is I honestly thought that if it attacked, it would do the land as well.
It does whenever it's a creature, but if you're
Whenever, yeah,
flickering it, it doesn't have haste.
yeah, but you'll have your piece out normally.
Lightning Greaves is bad in Nadu. It's you want Shuko, you want Umbral, and Lightning Greaves is it's the only other 0 cost that I care about. And yeah, it would give haste, but me moving to combat, I'm showing you that I am giving up on my win attempt, because really how Nadu wins at the end of the day is Scoot Swarm Overrun, and if I don't have a combat anymore, I'm not winning that turn.
Mm.
And there is Thassa as backup, but like with this, I'm not doing anything meaningful to mill my deck out. So like for me, I will say with that green creature that we thought was a CDH commander, I'd probably put it in that, because at the very least it's get them out turn 2 attack. If I don't have anything great in my hand, I could put this out. It's a 6/5. It gives me a land and it ramps me for the rest of the game until it's removed.
With it, the more I read it, the more it's a little bit lackluster. I
Yeah,
did initially think that this was the card for the set. I think that the 5 mana to cast it outright is going to make it worse, because then it's not a creature. That was some of the stuff that I kind of read over and didn't see.
yeah. For me, I think you're making great arguments for it to be a Nadu card. Just every time, every argument for it is, well, this is just value. It doesn't win. So I think this is a trap card where like it's one of those cards, and like trap card to me is always, I think it's great. I put it in a deck, and then every time, like I'd say Displacer Kitten technically is a trap card for most decks, where it's like, this sounds great, and then I'm like, oh, it's a 4 cost creature. All it does is value me, and it doesn't win. The only reason it's in Nadu is to flicker Nadu and reset everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I kind of meh. Like,
Then again, I apologize to the listeners. I thought that this was the card. I'm going to go back on my initial thought, and I'm going to throw this Force of Will at the green commander
yeah,
as the best creature,
yeah.
or the best card in the set.
So
So just so we're there, I believe that
Force of Will on Kona.
Kona
Yeah,
is going to be it.
yeah.
And that being said, it's because it's going to be a really strong green commander. The color hurts it, but I do believe that this will be one people build,
Hmm.
and I think that it could be any card that comes out in a set that can be would possibly be a CEDH commander. I think that is solid.
I'm gonna theory craft it. If it's good enough, maybe I'll do a bonus episode where it's just me putting out there like a real quick. It'll probably only be on YouTube. So another if you're listening to the podcast and you want more, YouTube is a great place. I did put the Nadu episode as a bonus episode on the podcast just because as it was an interview, it was good purely just with audio. But if I do Kona, I will only put it up on YouTube. So please like, comment, subscribe on YouTube.
For sake of time, I think that the commander is better than the tutor,
Hmm.
and that'll be my force of will
Yeah,
card.
cool. I agree with that. Patchwork Beastie. I'll do this one quick. Mono green 1. So it's 1 green pip. Artifact creature beast. Delirium. Can't attack or block unless there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may mill a card. It's a 3/3. I think that Commander is always looking for 1 drops that do what you want in a deck. Green, of course, has mana dorks, so this being a 1 drop green, not as great. If this was a 1 drop black, oh, like,
Yeah, it's
this
nasty.
this would be. I'm not gonna say this would be like the Esper Sentinel of Black because it's not, but milling. This is a great like Golgari creature, but I think it's pretty good. I really wish it wasn't an artifact creature. The fact that it immediately is like, all right, well, dockside count is higher in CDH makes it a little unviable.
I think it's a solid 3
Yeah,
if I had to base it somewhere.
yeah. I think it really shines in Golgari where you want to activate Delirium. Like again, kind of going back to that tutor. If you have this turn 1, you're probably going to get that tutor off
Mm.
very soon. Um, so I like it. I think 3 is fair. I don't think a one green creature needs a lot of explanation because probably you're gonna put this in your deck, try it out, and be like, I would have rather just had a Birds of Paradise. So
I don't know if this will also be good in draft. You'll see it a lot because it's an uncommon, but if I was just thinking pre-release, I'm sorry, pre-release, not
yeah,
draft. I don't know if this would be one of them ones. I think that it needs to have very specific things to use.
and I didn't put them in because they're not good, but there's a lot of bite spells in this set where based on your power you punch the other person. So you could just with this 3/3 use it as a basis for good punch removal. Um yeah, I agree it's a really good draft card, but will it see CDH play? Is I don't unfortunately one pip green creatures there's a multitude of great, and you have to compare this to Birds of Paradise and it's no Birds of Paradise. Yeah.
The art on this though looks like one of the hollows from Bleach.
Yeah. I talked to this artist directly on Twitter and shared this exact, and it's
Super
yeah.
cool.
It looks like a I'd almost say the mask kid from Zelda covered in a quilt he found in the middle of the woods, like Majora's Mask, like type. Yeah, if you're a Majora's Mask fan, you'll look at this and be like, "Great, yeah,
Yeah, I think Majora's Mask, or if you're an anime fan, this really looks like a hollow.
yeah." Tyvar the Pummeler, 1 green, legendary creature, elf warrior. Tap another untapped creature you control. Tyvar the Pummeler gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. So a good way to activate those survival mechanics. For 5 green mana, creatures you control get XX till end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. I will say, if you find a way to go unlimited green mana, so you dump 5 in, Tyvar becomes a 6/6. You dump 5 more in, Tyvar becomes a 12/12. You dump 5 more in, Tyvar becomes a 24/24. So you don't want to hold priority and go pop, 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 but add sorcery speed. If you have unlimited green, you have unlimited power and toughness at that point. Or if you have 20 green, you don't have a crazy amount. Like let's say you scoot swarm Guy's Cradle, where you have about 100 green, but you don't have infinite amount. You can sit there and go double, 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 cool swing.
Yeah, and it's all creatures, so it could be a win con
Yeah.
for green. This might be, I don't know if this would be the biggest play for that commander to win, but I do think that it's decent.
I would put it in that commander only because mana curve wise, this is 3, the commander's 4. So if I play, let's say I'm completely unable to get that commander out quickly. If I have 3 mana and not 4, I put Tyvar out. Next turn, I put my commander out, tap it with Tyvar's effect at the beginning of my main 2, put it out. So
Yeah.
it's an enabler, and also it's an end game where it's like, okay, I've gotten to the point I have an insane amount of mana. Everything gets real big. Punch.
Yeah.
But that being said, 4. It goes in Elf Ball, I believe. I mean, it's an Elf Warrior. It's there. It's an outlet for Crazy Green. That's how you win an Elf Ball. Is Elf Ball viable right now? No. Um, but there's a very specific type of deck that this goes in, and uh, that deck is what mono green does. And mono green or green is 1/5 of the colors, so I would have to argue for me it's a 4. I would definitely understand a lower ranking though.
I would say a 3 is probably where I'd put this card
That's fair.
on the ranking.
Yeah. All right, cool. Next one. Ooh, the rooms. And these are going to be really awkward visually. Just because they're like kind of like battles where they want to be side, but the orientation on Scryfall is up and down.
Yeah.
So this one, Walking Closet, 2 and a green is one side. You may play lands from your graveyard. Forgotten Cellar, 3 generic, green green is the other side. When you unlock this door, you may cast spells from your graveyard this turn, and you may. Sorry, I'm like trying to read. And when you unlock this door, you may cast spells from your graveyard this turn, and if a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile it instead. So it's a Yawgmoth's Will for 5 green.
In green.
Yeah, and then a something of Worlds, Crucible of Worlds.
Crucible.
Which Crucible I believe is 3 colorless
Or is it
on the other side.
Meldrotha?
Muldrotha is you may play 1 permanent from your graveyard of each type. But I mean it's Crucible of Worlds, which is very viable in a lot of deck types that people want. And then on the other side, it's a Yawgmoth's Will for 5 on a single card. This was something that I showed our resident sushi player. He was really big on 6, and I just went, okay, I get that you're big on 6. However, Walking Closet is a Crucible of Worlds. You never have to worry about having a land drawn if you have a sack land, because you can just play that sack land over and over to get everything out of your deck that it can go get, which if you're in 3 colors is a lot of cards. And this person, not being mean, keeps a 1 land hand a lot. But it's one of those things where I was like, this is strictly, in my opinion, for your deck an upgrade of 6. Showed it to him. He is in black, so he can run Yawgmoth's Will. I don't know if having 2 of those, especially 1 for 5, is worth it. However, if you're mono green, this is really cool, in my opinion.
My question to you would be, how does this work as far as casting? Because it's kind of weird for me to read it.
I was really hoping to get into that. So Rooms is We should go over it. I was since we're already at almost 3 hours, I was kind of hoping to sneak this one by, but you're keeping me on the path.
I'm
So
sorry, man.
no, it's an enchantment, and the subtype is room. So whenever you cast the card, you cast one side of it, and then later on, you can cast the other side. So if I have it in hand, walking closet, I can cast for 3. That side of the room is locked. It's on the field as an enchantment, and then later I can cast 5, I
To
believe
do
at
the
sorcery speed, as a sorcery. Yeah. So
okay, so
later on, I can unlock the other side, and at any point in the game, as long as this permanent stays on the battlefield, as
you could do the
sorcery
other
speed, I can cast 5. So they're very valuable. However, let's say I cast Walking Closet for 3 and you mana drain me,
it hits for
you have
all of it.
8 mana.
He hits for all. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
I cast or let's say I add Nas.
Oh, that
It
hurts.
hits
Yeah,
me for
heck
8.
no. I wouldn't run
Um
this in an Adnos.
yeah. So and that was going to be part of my rating too. So you asking the question was good.
My thoughts. So just to clarify really quickly, let's say I want both abilities at one time. It would be 8 mana at sorcery speed to
Nope.
cast it.
You can't do that. So you would on the stack put Walking Closet or Forgotten Cellar.
Resolves.
Resolves, that room unlocks. Then once the stack is gone, Forgotten Cellar for 5. So you commit to one side,
Yeah, that's
it
fine.
resolves. But at the end of that, it is 8 mana for both sides, which you can do twice at sorcery speed. It's just you can't just tap 8 and just slam
No,
it down.
I
Yeah.
wasn't. I wasn't saying it that way. Now, let's say I just want to cast the other one. I could cast it for 5.
Cast it for 5. At no point do you ever have to cast a Walking Closet.
Fair. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna. I'm not gonna touch any more on it.
Yeah.
That's all of my questions.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. The only reason I haven't shown more is literally because Mana Drain and Ad Nause, which is every table you sit at is going to be worthwhile.
My rating is gonna be a 2.
Yeah. Also, if I hit this with a Tali, I believe I only get to cast one side. I don't I don't know too much about this as far as like when you cast for free. I don't think I can cast both free. That's why I
Because
was
it'd be an instant.
yeah. That's why I was making a point to go like you can't cast both sides at the same time.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a 2. I think certain decks that aren't running black will look at this and go, I have access to Yawgmoth's Well now. Yeah, it costs 2 more. I don't care. This is crazy. Thank you. Are those decks CDH decks? I don't think so. So I'll give it a 2.
Also, if there's another room in here that's better, just leave it in the comments because I think it's a cool mechanic. I just don't.
It's a lot to
It's a
go
lot to go
over.
with.
This I was mostly going to ignore them because at the end of the day, they're enchantments, so they can be swan songed. They can be like
Yeah.
enchantments are the hardest things to get to resolve. Just because almost every counter that is run hits an enchantment. So for the most part, unless they were just crazy good, which I do believe this one is crazy good, it's a 2. If the card made it on this podcast at all, it's good. But let's move on to the next one. Love this one. Arabella, Abandoned Doll, red, white, legendary artifact creature, toy. Whenever Arabella, Abandoned Doll attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. It is a 1/3. I will kind of circle back. It is legendary. So if you wanted a Boros tiny creatures matter command deck, you could do that. I think it'd be a really strong high power casual deck. Nearing CDH would not be tournament CDH. I'm gonna rate this a 4 because it gives Winota a closer. So the people that like to play Winota as a very heavy stacks build and just want to lock the game down, I believe that they had a pretty hard time closing before, and a lot of their matches would go to ties. This at least gives you an option to go, okay, I'm going to put Arbella out. It's a toy. It gives me Winota triggers. On top of it, whenever it attacks, it deals 3 damage to each opponent. I gain 3 life, and then you have to deal with all of the other damage Winota's throwing at you.
Yeah. I'm gonna say a 4 just because I see it being played in Winota.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm not gonna say a 5 because I don't think it's gonna be game changing by any means. This is also a uncommon. I like to make those notations, I guess, because there's some cards that I'm just like, holy
Yeah.
crap! Like this is a uncommon. I'm gonna see this card.
Back in the day, I don't know if you remember when we first started playing, I was dead set on for every cereal monster making a deck, and I made Edgar as Count Chocula. The one that was going to be Frankenberry, so red white because Frankenberry's pink, was a 5 cost artifact that basically whenever you swung, you dealt X damage to each person based on the number of artifacts you have. Um, this being a mini version of that is really cool. I don't think we'll see Arabella come in as a fringe commander just because yeah, there's a lot of ways to kind of make a deck like that, like Esper Sentinel, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's really easy to poop out 1/1 white tokens as well. I will be putting this in Balin. There's enough cards in this set that I'll be looking at Balin and going, okay, I often have 12 tokens out. That's the whole point of Balin. Are they creature tokens? No, not always. Most of them are food. However, I have a lot of ways now with Balin to lock down the game and also close that isn't going infinite with Dockside.
I like it. I think the art is really awesome. I think the whole, as a whole, the card
Yeah.
is probably going to be a 3 or a 4, and I'm pretty good with whatever you think that it's going to be on that.
I say 4 because it elevates Balin and Winota, and we know Winota is just waiting in the shadows to come back. Like
Yeah, that's true.
Winota and Yuriko are both sitting in the shadows graffitiing Blue Farm sucks, and it's just waiting to pop in.
I would argue that Winota is probably more in the forerunner than Yuriko, but
I see Winota way more in tournaments. It's a deck that it was huge whenever it was a deck, and the people that ran it at the height will not let it go. And not that they're wrong. Like Winota is a great deck. I've thought about making it several times. I've been burned too many times by Stacks Combat just because the mechanic of that deck makes everybody at the table look at you and go, I hate you. Let me mess up your
that's
round. When you lock the table down and you're swinging on everybody, it's so easy for people to sandbag and stop you from winning. Every single person is just throwing their all at you. It's a mechanic that needs help in CEDH, and I do think Arabella could bridge that gap to where it's like Winota's here and is just gonna drain us. Oh no.
I'm with it. I think
yeah.
a 4 is solid.
And I'm curious, so if it deals X damage to each opponent and you gain X life, if you were in Mardu, no, because you'd still have to have the black enchantments that synergize and kill the table. It would be a way to start it, which I mean anything is a way to start it, but yeah. It's good. It'll go in Winota. I think we both agree it's a 4.
It's also a 1/3, so it's got a big butt.
It has the potential where I would not be surprised if we see a fringe deck that does pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Drag to Roots, real quick review. 2 colorless, black, green, instant, delirium. This spell costs 2 less if you have 4 or more card types in your graveyard. Destroy target non-land permanent. It's an assassin's trophy that if you have delirium does not have the downside of giving somebody a basic land.
I'm gonna say a 2.
I'll say
Or
3.
you think so?
Yeah, I know. Um, it's
I guess in Golgari it needs some help.
yeah, and like I do. If I could give it a 2.5, I would, because you already have redundancy with this because you have Assassin's Trophy and then you have Abrupt Decay. Abrupt Decay is by far the best version. Assassin's Trophy is by far clearly the second best. And then third, Drag to Roots is your backup. The fact that it destroys any non-land permanent is really good at instant speed.
I'm with you. A
Yeah,
3 is fine. I don't
I
think
think,
there's a whole lot with it.
yeah, easy review. Like, already it's the exact same card as a very known archetype. Kato, Bane of Nightmares, 2 colorless, blue, black, legendary planeswalker, Kato. It has ninjutsu.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so you can ninjutsu 3 this, return an unblocked attacker you control to your hand. Put this onto the battlefield from your hand tapped and attacking. During your turn, as long as Kato has 1 or more loyalty counters on him, he's a 3/4 ninja and has hexproof. +1, you get an emblem, not able to removed. Ninjas you control get +1/+1. 0, surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. Clearly Yuriko. Yeah, like
Yeah.
-2, tap target creature, put 2 stun counters on it. This is I think really good for Yuriko. I still say Yuriko is, if you have an interest in playing CDH and you want a fairly budget CDH deck that you can run, let's say you pulled a Fierce Guardianship whenever the Commander set came out. Fierce Guardianship is a very obtainable, great card. A lot of the 1-cost spells are pretty obtainable. You could have a really good budget CDH tournament deck with Yuriko, all the way up to, if you like it and you are like, this is great, I want to upgrade it, you can go put Thassa's Oracle and Demonic and Tainted into it. I think it's a really good starter deck for tournament play. This makes it pretty good. I don't think, really, at the end of the day, you're ever going to look at Yuriko and go, I want my ninjas to be bigger, because she just kind of drains everybody. But that surveil 2 and then draw 3 at 0 is pretty insane. You could also surveil before your combat, surveil 2, put the biggest card on top, not draw anything because you haven't done any damage, and then all of a sudden you're like, I swing with Yuriko, I've manipulated the top, it's a 15 like mana cost card, everybody loses 15. Yeah,
I think it's a 4. I mean,
yeah,
if you
it's
see it in Yuriko, and I would say it's a 3 just because Yuriko is not seen play
not much
really.
anymore, but yeah.
I'm gonna hold to a 3
Yeah,
just because Yuriko is not dominant in
I
anything.
I think this will renew interest in Yuriko, and we'll see it, and then from there we'll see, if anybody top 16. But yeah, I really like that they clearly looked at Yuriko and went, we want this card to be good in standard, and also let's give Yuriko a little boost.
Yeah, a Planeswalker always fun.
Peer Past the Veil, 2 colorless, red green. Instant, discard your hand, then draw X cards, where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. It is a 1 extra green instant Wheel of Fortune. In CDH, if you're discarding your hand, you're probably putting at least 4 to 5 different card types. Artifact, land, creature, instant, sorcery. That's 5. I would be surprised if this resolves and you draw less than 5. It is 4, which is more than 3, but instantly being able to go, okay, I'm going to, I know I'm going to sack my Lion's Eye Diamond and my hand's going away anyway. Peer Past the Veil on top of the Peer Past the Veil, Lion's Eye Diamond.
I'm gonna for this one. I'm gonna say it's a 2. I would. I don't think it's gonna see a lot of play.
I'm for sure putting it in Atali. If I hit it on an Atali trigger, it's great because it refreshes my hand. If I'm not doing a lot with Atali, it's really good for me to be like, keep stuff up, and then, okay, cool, on your end step, let me refresh only my hand. Uh,
Well, being that you were like with a lion's eye isn't used a lot in green.
mhm.
That's my issue.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless you're using, I guess Atali is able to run it.
I do. I agree with a 3. I think
I could do a 3.
I'm gonna put it in Atali for sure. Um, I don't think every Atali player is gonna have this in their deck, but
I don't see it
yeah,
as I don't and again it's a possibility. It's good to have the option. That's why I was going to say put it aside for later.
yeah.
But if you see it, I could see it have some play. So I'm
If
cool with that.
somebody, if what I like to think is, if somebody went, hey, in the next set, we're gonna print a instant speed Wheel of Fortune. It only draws 5, and we're gonna add a green pip to Wheel of Fortune. Can potentially draw with a battle and enchantment 7 to 8, depending on how you build your deck.
Yeah.
Would you be excited for this? My answer would be yes, and that's pretty much what it
I mean,
is.
drawing cards is like the
Yeah,
backbone of CEDH.
yeah,
And I get it. I
and
just the green was throwing me off, but I could
yeah,
see it in Atali.
and you guys know with the Tully, it's a I'm going. So I
Yeah,
dump a
no hand.
lot of my hand. Yeah,
And it's personal.
yeah,
That
personal.
I was looking at it as being okay. Well, I'm not wheeling everyone,
Yeah,
but being personal isn't always bad either.
yeah,
So I'm with you. I could see it.
yeah. 3 it is. Ghost Vacuum. This will be real quick. 1 colorless artifact. Tap, exile target card from a graveyard. 6 tap, sacrifice Ghost Vacuum. Uh, put each creature card exiled with Ghost Vacuum onto the battlefield under your control with a flying counter on it. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit in addition to its other types, activate as a sorcery. That last, pay 6, tap, sacrifice Ghost Vacuum. You're not going to see that in CEDH.
Mm-mm.
If if you exile away a dockside, I'm not going to be excited about paying 6 and getting a 1/1 ETB of that. It's cool because a lot of stacks cards don't really reward you for playing sheriff at the table. This potentially can extremely late in the game.
I
I don't see the games getting to that point. I do think it is a really good way to put up Ghost Vacuum, and then you're like, anybody that's going to Underworld Breach, no. The reason that I put this out is it's a good card for people to consider running because of Rogsai.
I looked at it and I was like, this is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the end of the day, I'll hit some of the younger viewer or listeners,
Yeah.
and I was gonna say Luigi's Mansion. It looks like that,
Yeah. Or Ghostbusters, and they
and
have
Ghostbuster.
confirmed that Ghostbusters is going to get a secret layer too.
And I was gonna say Ghostbusters for all of you millennials and
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah, yeah,
underneath it.
old folks.
Yeah, not that I'm old,
Yeah.
but um, I think that it's a cool art. I think that it's good tech. It's one to do. It's free to do it. So you pay one, you drop it, you do it. Um, I'm gonna say put it aside for later.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
To me, it's a 2. I will say that if I see it in my hand and I'm going against Rogsai, I will be kind of happy because I'll be like, okay, Rogsai can't go completely off.
the,
However, am I really that scared of Rogsai where I'm excited that I have a 1 colorless artifact that all it does is stop one person? I would just rather push a win.
My big thing with this would be the rarity scale.
Hmm.
Like I think that it's funny that this is a rare and that the three or the two cost red spell that could do three different things is an uncommon.
Hmm.
How however, maybe the metric was to let's make this readily available for
Yeah.
everyone, and I get that.
And I feel like I bring up Winota so much. However,
Winota, Crick, and
Resident Winota player was very excited about this because they were like, I do want to drop a lot of stacks turn one. And by the time I get out Winota, I can keep mana up. I have a lot of mana in Winota by the time I get Winota. I can put Winota down, get a couple triggers, and then next turn, untap. I've been exiling stuff for 4 to 5 turns. All of a sudden, I have 5/1/1 spirits on my end step. Blah. Like, I get it. Well, no, activate only as a sorcery, so that you can't surprise them in on somebody's end step. I think the activate as only as a sorcery kills this card as being a Winota spot, so it's a 2.
yeah, I could see it. Put it away for later.
Yeah.
This is the proton pack from Ghostbusters.
Flavor wise, 5 out of 5.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Marvin Murderous Mimic, 2 colorless, legendary artifact creature toy. Marvin Murderous Mimic has all activated abilities of creatures you control that don't have the same name as this creature. Everybody wants to break this card. It's a colorless legendary creature, so it can be your commander. There are mirrors that go infinite with this, where you just get infinite mana. Uh, Infinite mana in colorless, yeah, you do have a staff that just can ping everybody down and untap itself. I think this is a really cool design, and I think it's a really cool high power, not even high power, casual card. It is a really bad necrotic slime, I believe, necrotic ooze, because everything has to be out on the battlefield and you have to control them. So
I
you
mean,
don't even get the ability to entomb stuff to do it.
as a commander, this is not it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not even, in my opinion, you have to put so many dead cards for it to matter. Um, I don't see it. Like, I will say that there are a lot of good untap creatures in Nadu. So I could put Marvin out and then I could have a third creature that taps and taps and taps and taps. But I would put Marvin out. I already have that creature, so I'm already amassing value. And then you remove that creature, and then I'm like, well, poop. Marvin doesn't do anything anymore. Like you get a 2-for-1 removal. I think it's cool. I do not think it'll see any CDH play. I am gonna throw a 1 at this.
Throw one. That's where I was too.
Yeah. No, no. Be excited about it, please. Uh, CDH tournament play. It's a 1. 100% say it is a completely cool casual build around. I would love to see a casual deck play this. Like,
Yeah.
cool, cool. And then I just wanted to, I think this is the last one. Yes, it is. I just wanted to bring up there is a cycle of lands, not in every color. Unfortunately, there's not a blue green for Nadu. uh, but we're going to have a cycle of rare lands, first time they've ever been printed. So it's not like you pull this and you're like, oh, I have to go see if this is already in my deck. It won't be. These lands come out untapped as a certain color, and then if you have a mountain or a forest, you can get the second color. So Thornspire Verge land, tap, add a red, tap, add green, only activate if you control a mountain or a forest. I pretty much in every game, my first land is always going to be a taiga. It's just I have so many fetch lands, I will have one. Uh, if it's not a taiga, probably I have a mountain in hand and I have other plans and I can drop this one, or just I drop this one, I get
For
the
a red.
mountain,
Yeah.
and then I drop my forest, and then all of a sudden I can get out a 2 green creature.
In
Um,
in CEDH though, if you're gonna be running this card, you're gonna be running the dual lands anyway
yeah,
at
yeah,
some form or fashion. So if this doesn't tap for the additional, it will eventually.
yeah. This is a good CDH land. This
Yeah, I like
will,
it.
it doesn't even do damage to you. So this realistically at the end of the day is going to be a city and brass in two color. It's going to be a command tower for the most part. It's going to very easily fix my mana base in 2 colors. I don't know if 3 colors run it. I don't know if 4 colors run it. 5 colors to say definitely will not run this.
No,
Um,
it's too efficient what we got
yeah.
now.
So it's a 4. Lands are really hard to rate just because you need lands to play the game. But kind of seeing that as 3 color, 4 color, 5 color, not really going to be excited about this.
I would argue that this is a 4 and it's a 5 for the specific
Yeah.
colors
I'm excited about
only.
putting
So
this, yeah, in Italy. Like if I don't pull this and someone else does, I will be trading for it. I do think that these will probably be $7 to $10 lands.
yeah, I could see that.
So I'd say if you're not excited about the set and you're just trying to get value lands, this will be a good set. But yeah, there's a whole cycle of them. Not well, there's a half cycle, not all of them. So like I wanted one for Nadu. They did not print a Nadu, so I'm pretty sure the next set
May
they'll
have
print
them.
the other 5. That's what they've been doing. Hate it, hate that. However, that's where we're at. So it's a 4 for me.
Yeah, I'm down with that too.
Cool. And this is our set review. It was 3 hours
Sorry, guys.
plus. This was a really cool set. I am extremely excited. I don't think there's been a set that's come out that I've just been like, this will change CDH. Since MH3 and MH3, we didn't even do a review this long.
If we were gonna do this based on the art alone, this would have been an all day. You'd have been
Yeah,
listening to this for
yeah,
24 hours. All of the arts in this set are just awesome.
yeah.
I'm a spooky. I like spooky stuff, and this is all of the arts are
Yeah.
just great.
I cannot wait to go to a themed Duskmourn Magic Con. I am so hyped. So hyped. But yeah, that is our review. If you made it this far, number one, you are a trooper. Thank you.
You
Yeah.
are it.
I did not want to make it this far, so if you did, thank you. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on podcasts, please rate the podcast a 5. Set your downloads to auto download. Share it with your friends, comments, everything that you can do to help with the channel is greatly appreciated. And really, at the end of the day, all you need to do is listen, watch, press a couple buttons. So if you're already listening, you're doing great. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.